Chapter 1863. Chapter 1863. Breakthrough. Halfway in just over a minute, he had taken 300 steps forward. This speed shocked the few elders of the desolate race, as well as Huang Li and company. Then he was overjoyed. Perhaps Lu Ming could really do it? Lu Ming's speed finally slowed down after 300 steps. However, it was still much faster than before. Not long after, Lu Ming had taken 400 steps. After 400 steps, his speed slowed down a little, and then it was 500 steps. After 500 steps, he still did not stop Lu Ming. He took one step at a time, firmly advancing forward. When Lu Ming took 600 steps, the desolate race members were shocked. 600 steps. Previously, Desolate Li was only able to take 600 steps. Desolate Li was the #1 elite of the desolate race. In the history of the desolate race, he was also one of the top elites. However, the desolate power had taken a few days while Lu Ming had only taken about an hour. In the history of the desolate race, the highest record was 700 steps. Lu Ming stood at the position of 600 steps. He adjusted his breathing for a while and took another step. Thump! There was a violent explosion and a terrifying pressure pressed on Lu Ming's body. However, Lu Ming's body only trembled slightly and he resisted the pressure. Then he took a second step, a third step. Everyone heaved a long sigh of relief. Lu Ming advanced step by step at a constant speed. This time, Lu Ming took an hour to take his 700th step. This had already tied with the desolate race's historical record. Next, Lu Ming only needed to take one more step and he would break the desolate race's record. Lu Ming stopped and took some time to regulate his breathing and recover. Then he took another step forward. 701 steps. With this step, the earth let out a violent roar, and the entire ancient road emitted a green light. Lu Ming's body was surrounded by the laws of chaos, resisting the strong pressure from the outside world. What a strong pressure! It's only the 701st step, and the pressure is already so strong. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. He felt that all his muscles and bones were under a terrifying pressure, and they were groaning. It was as if his body had become thousands of times heavier. In his dantian, the two saint hearts were spinning rapidly, and the majestic saint power filled Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming continued to step forward. However, at this point, Lu Ming's walking speed had greatly reduced. It was much slower than before. Everyone from the desolate race revealed nervous expressions. Was it so difficult after 700 steps? Could Lu Ming make it to the end? If even Lu Ming could not make it to the end, they would really be in despair. They did not believe that anyone of the same level could be stronger than Lu Ming. Thump! Boom! The rumbles continued. Fortunately, this area was isolated by a formation. Otherwise, the violent rumbles would have shaken the entire ancient city. This time, Lu Ming took a total of 3 hours before he took the 100th step and landed on the 800th step. There were only 200 steps left before he would be able to walk through this ancient bluestone road. But without a doubt, the last 200 steps would be the most difficult. Lu Ming's gaze turned serious. He sat down cross-legged at the 800th step and took out a large number of raw gemstones to devour to recover. Just now, he had consumed a large amount of saint power. Everyone waited in silence. After a few hours, Lu Ming finally recovered to his peak. He then stood up and stepped out without hesitation. Boom! Lu Ming's body trembled violently when he took that step. He felt a force as strong as a storm crashing into his body, as if it was going to break him apart. What a terrifying pressure! Lu Ming's eyes were filled with shock. The bone armor in his body creaked as it endured the terrifying pressure. It was as if it was going to blow Lu Ming away. How can this pressure stop me? Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning. He growled and continued to step forward, resisting this terrifying force. After the second step, Lu Ming's body still trembled. The desolate race members' hearts also trembled. It was as if Lu Ming's every step was stepping on their hearts. After Lu Ming took his second step, he stopped for a long time before taking his third step. The pressure from the outside world was really too strong here. If it were an ordinary great sage in the great mastery realm who came here, His body would have been crushed in an instant, leaving no corpse. At this point, Lu Ming's pace became very, very slow. With every step he took, he had to stop for a long time to devour raw gemstones to recover. However, Lu Ming's posture was still straight and his eyes were still determined. Although it was very slow, it was still moving forward. This process lasted for 5 days. 5 days later, Lu Ming took the 900th step. There were still 100 steps to go. Lu Ming continued to sit cross-legged and began to recover. This recovery took 3 days. 3 days later, Lu Ming stood up. Everyone in the desolate race felt their hearts in their throats. Could Lu Ming continue to move forward? He wouldn't be blasted down when he took his 901st step, right? Boom. Finally, Lu Ming took a step out. The ground shook and Lu Ming's body trembled violently. His face turned pale. What a terrifying pressure. It's even stronger than the previous pressure. Furthermore, there's even pressure on the soul and even the laws. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. After 900 steps, the pressure he had to face was all round. It was simply too shocking. Lu Ming was almost blasted away. In the end, he gritted his teeth and endured it. He withstood it. The desolate race members were overjoyed. On this ancient road, every 100 steps was a ridge, and the pressure would rise to a new level. Therefore, the first step of every 100 steps was the most difficult. Once one couldn't block it, they would be directly blown down. Once the first step was blocked, it meant that he could withstand the power of this level. Then he could continue to move forward. If Lu Ming could take the 901st step, there was a high possibility that he would be able to walk through the ancient bluestone road. How could they not be happy? However, since ancient times, no one had been able to walk past 900 steps. They did not know what the situation would be like after 900 steps. Therefore, they were still extremely nervous, afraid that something would happen. After taking this step, Lu Ming stood there for a long time before he took another step. When he took his second step, Lu Ming's body still trembled, but he managed to withstand it and stayed there to regulate his breathing. After some time, Lu Ming took the third step. Just like that, Lu Ming would take a step every once in a while. When he had taken 950 steps, he suddenly sat cross-legged and took out a large number of raw gemstones. What's going on? He's about to break through. An elder asked in surprise. Yes, Lu Ming was about to break through at this moment. Chapter 1864, Chapter 1864. Chapter 1864, Power Condensation Stone, Foreign Elder. Chapter 1864. Chapter 1864 Power Condensation Stone, Foreign Elder. Lu Ming's cultivation base was already close to the peak of the Great Saint Realm. This ancient road brought immense pressure to Lu Ming. Under the immense pressure, Lu Ming's potential was forced out, allowing him to break through the shackles and rush into the peak of the Great Saint Realm. Lu Ming began to devour large amounts of raw gemstones to stabilize his realm. 2 days later, Lu Ming completed the breakthrough. He got up and continued to move forward. The pressure is getting stronger, Lu Ming muttered. As his cultivation broke through, the pressure from the outside world became stronger. The pressure on this ancient path would change according to the cultivation level of the cultivator. Only those who were far stronger than their peers could step on it. The pressure grew stronger, but Lu Ming's cultivation level had increased as well. The pressure he faced was no different from before. Lu Ming continued to move forward. It was a long process. From the 900th step to the 1000th step, including Lu Ming's breakthrough, he used half a month's time. Thump. When Lu Ming took his 1000th step, the elders of the desolate race, as well as Desolate Li and the rest, were ecstatic. They had finally taken the 1000th step. After so many years, there was finally someone who could walk through the ancient limestone road. The treasure of their desolate race ancestor was about to be born. The pressure is gone. When Lu Ming took his 1000th step, the external pressure disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming felt refreshed and very comfortable. I've made some breakthroughs in the laws of chaos. The chaos tribulation finger should be 61% complete now. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. This trip was not in vain. Then, Lu Ming continued to walk and arrived in front of the altar. Lu Ming, as long as you turn the altar, you'll be able to activate the ancestral treasure. A clan elder reminded him, his eyes filled with anticipation. Lu Ming nodded. He grabbed both sides of the altar and turned it with force. Kacha! A cracking sound came from the altar. Then an infinite amount of light was emitted from the altar. Then, the light gathered and formed a circular ring of light. A piece of crystal-like stone flew out from the ring of light. Could it be a power condensation stone? A clan elder looked at the rock that flew out of the circle of light. His body trembled slightly, and he revealed an extremely excited expression. The other clan elders, as well as Desolate Li and the others, were also extremely excited. After the ring of light flew out of the stone, it collapsed and disappeared. A power condensation stone? Lu Ming was curious. He held the stone in his hand, but he could not feel any weight. However, he could feel a strange force acting on his body. After that, Lu Ming returned along the ancient bluestone road. However, this time, the ancient bluestone road did not exert any pressure on him. With one step, Lu Ming arrived beside Desolate Force and the rest. Senior here. Lu Ming passed the strength condensation stone to a clan elder. The clan elder received it excitedly and examined it carefully. His old body trembled slightly because of his excitement. The power condensation stone, it really is the legendary power condensation stone. With the blessings of our ancestors, our clan has finally found the power condensation stone. The Desolate Race elder held the strength condensation stone in excitement. The other elders were not much different. What is the use of this power condensation stone to make these elders of the Desolate Race, who have lived for who knows how many years, so excited? Lu Ming was very curious. Lu Ming, you still don't know the significance of the strength condensation stone to our Desolate Race. This is a supreme treasure that can allow our Desolate Race to rise to power. However, in the hands of others, it is of little use, Desolate said, explaining the function of the power condensation stone. The Desolate Race was an ancient race. They had special physiques, and every single one of them had extremely strong bodies and immense strength. Furthermore, what the Desolate Race cultivated was also related to strength. All sorts of martial techniques, mystic techniques, and divine powers were related to strength. The intent and nomological laws they comprehended were all related to strength. Most people comprehended the law of strength. As for the members of the Desolate Race, if they were exposed to the power condensation stones from a young age, they would be able to improve their physiques. Their bodies would become stronger, and their strength would become stronger. They would be able to better grasp the laws of strength, and they would even be able to easily grasp the laws of extremity. The laws of extremity were the laws of the way of the king. If a group of elites who could control the laws of extremity appeared in the Desolate Race, how terrifying would that be? After Lu Ming heard this, he was shocked. It was no wonder the elders of the Desolate Race were so excited. This was a treasure that could really allow the Desolate Race to rise. Lu Ming, our Desolate Race will never forget this great favor. A few elders of the Desolate Race bowed towards Lu Ming. Senior, you mustn't. Lu Ming quickly retreated. These few Desolate Race elders had lived for an unknown number of years. Their cultivation levels were unfathomable, so how could he dare to accept them? Then, Lu Ming changed the topic and said, Senior, the other two altars. Lu Ming's gaze shifted to the other two ancient bluestone roads. The two altars can't be opened yet. The second ancient limestone road requires at least the cultivation of the martial emperor realm to step on. I'm afraid that the third one requires a higher cultivation to step on. A Desolate Race elder explained. I need to be at least a martial supreme to enter? Lu Ming's heart stirred. Lu Ming, I hope that when your cultivation level is higher in the future, you can help my Desolate Race a few more times. A clan elder said very courteously. Since Lu Ming could clear the first ancient road, he could clear the second and third one. It was just that his cultivation level was not high enough. Of course, they had to build a good relationship with Lu Ming. Definitely. Lu Ming nodded. This was beneficial to both parties. It was a win-win situation. The Desolate Race needed Lu Ming's help, And if Lu Ming needed help in the future, he would also need the desolate race's help. To Lu Ming, there was no harm in doing so why should he not agree? Following that, they left the place and returned to the desolate race's meeting hall. A desolate race elder immediately went to get a few berserker crystals and handed them to Lu Ming. Lu Ming was naturally overjoyed that he had obtained the berserker crystals. On the second day, the desolate race held a huge banquet as the entire world celebrated. At the same time, at the banquet, the desolate race made Lu Ming an elder of another race. His status was second only to the desolate race's clan leader, and he had great authority. As for the desolate race, everyone knew that Lu Ming had stepped onto the ancient limestone road and helped the desolate race obtain the strength condensation stone. Naturally, no one objected and they all supported Lu Ming wholeheartedly. 3 days later, Lu Ming bade the desolate race elder farewell. It had been several months since he came to the savage barren ancient region. He had also obtained the savage crystal. It was time to leave. Calculating the time, the Heavenly Emperor City's Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy had already held its meeting for 2 months. Lu Ming, we've selected some geniuses from our clan. We're planning to go out and train with you. What do you think? In the desolate race's meeting hall, an elder said, "That's right. From what you've said, there are many prodigies in the outside world with king physiques. Letting them go out and gain experience will allow them to go further. Otherwise, they'll really think that they're invincible if they stay in the ancient savage barren realm every day." Another external elder said. Desolate Li's face turned red. Before meeting Lu Ming, Desolate Force was indeed very proud. He felt that he was the leader of the younger generation and was invincible. Ever since the battle with Lu Ming, he had completely lost his temper. "All right, but I'm afraid we'll face danger outside." Lu Ming said, "Only with danger can we go further." An elder spoke, and this matter was settled. Chapter 1865, Chapter 1865. Chapter 1865, Chaos in Barren City. Chapter 1865. Chapter 1865 Chaos in Barren City. Not long after, the desolate race selected 9 young elites to follow Lu Ming out to experience the world. Desolate power and desolate land were all within it. Among the 9 people, 5 of them had upper-grade heaven spiritual bodies. The other 4 had medium-grade heaven spiritual bodies. Each of them was very powerful. Their cultivation was either at the peak of the Great Saint or the Great Saint Perfection. Lu Ming, how many people in the outside world know about the entrance to the wild sanctuary? At this moment, an elder asked. There shouldn't be many, at most a few. Lu Ming told him about Ha Zheng. The desolate race has yet to fully come into being. Therefore, these people cannot be allowed to live. A sharp glint flashed in the eyes of one of the elders. "I'll go out with Lu Ming to get rid of them." A middle-aged burly man spoke. This person was the desolate race expert who had brought Lu Ming to meet the desolate race elder in the cage battle arena. His cultivation level was at the martial emperor realm and his name was Huang Su. "All right, you guys can go." The elders nodded. The desolate race's exit was naturally not the one that Lu Ming and the rest had entered previously. There were other exits, but this time, they still planned to exit from that entrance. Everyone rose into the air, and not long later, they arrived at the exit. The desolate race experts opened the exit, and a vortex appeared in the sky. Everyone charged into the vortex and disappeared. The next moment, Lu Ming realized that they had appeared in the sky above the lake that they had entered previously. He swept his gaze around, but there was no one around. "Senior Ruins, why don't you enter my mountain and river diagram for the time being? I'll go to Barren City secretly, so as not to alert the enemy and scare Ha Zheng and the others away." Lu Ming suggested. The members of the desolate race were too burly, so they would definitely attract attention when they walked on the streets. Ha Zheng, on the other hand, had entered the ancient savage barren realm before. If they were to swagger into Barren City, they would probably alarm Ha Zheng and make an early escape. Barren Ruins and the rest nodded. Lu Ming kept Barren Ruins, Desolate Li, and the rest into the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming, Qiu Yu, and Bubbles were the only ones who headed toward Barren City. When Lu Ming and the rest entered the Barren City again, They felt that the atmosphere was completely different from the previous time. Now, the atmosphere in the entire barren city seemed to be very depressing. The streets were also very depressed. Many shops were closed, and the restaurants were deserted. Boom. When Lu Ming and the rest passed by a towering mansion, a loud boom came from the mansion. A figure crashed through the wall and flew out of the mansion. He fell heavily to the ground and spat out a large mouthful of blood. It was a white-haired old man. He was very old and the wrinkles on his face were like mountains. He reminded Lu Ming of Uncle Kong, Buzz, and NBSP Whoosh. Then, a few figures rushed out of the mansion. One of them was a middle-aged man who stepped on the old man's face, causing his head to hit the ground heavily. "Grandpa sure," a delicate cry rang out. It was only then that Lu Ming realized that the other burly man was holding onto a young and beautiful lady. "Young miss, let young miss go. Otherwise, when old master and the others return, they won't let you off." The old man didn't care about his injuries and struggled to get up, trying to save the woman. However, the woman was kicked away by the burly man again. "Your master still wants to come back? He should have died in the ancient savage barren realm long ago. And even if he comes back, so what? Would my Ha family be afraid of your Huang family?" The middle-aged man sneered and looked at the old man coldly. "Old man, let me send you on your way." Then, a saber appeared in his hand and he slashed at the old man. However, he didn't strike down because a force flew out from the side and knocked his saber away. "Who is it?" the middle-aged man shouted. His eyes were like lightning as they finally landed on Lu Ming. "Brat, was it you who attacked?" the middle-aged man said coldly. "Looks like you're not blind." Lu Ming smiled faintly. "Brat, you're courting death. How dare you meddle in my Ha family's affairs? You're a reckless fool." The middle-aged man walked toward Lu Ming. When he saw Chiu Yu, he was stunned. "This woman is not bad. I'll give her to the young master. I'm sure you'll be rewarded handsomely." He did not know Lu Ming and Chiu Yu. Back then, although Lu Ming had caused quite a stir in the barren city, not many people had actually seen them. Buzz. The middle-aged man's saber flashed like lightning and slashed at Lu Ming. But the next moment he suddenly felt a chill on his neck. Then he saw a headless body holding a saber. The body ran a few steps forward and then fell to the ground. That was clearly his body. Then he felt his vision go black, and he didn't know anything. After killing the middle-aged man, Lu Ming's figure flickered a few times. With a wave of his hand, a terrifying force was directed at the remaining members of the Ha family. These people did not have the strength to resist and were killed by Lu Ming directly. Only one person survived because Lu Ming deliberately left him alive. However, he was so frightened that his face turned pale and his body trembled. He fell to the ground weakly, and a foul smell came from his crotch. He had actually peed his pants. "Grandpa sure, are you all right?" The young woman quickly ran to the old man and asked with concern. "Miss, I'm fine." The old man shook his head. Then, with the help of the young lady, he walked to Lu Ming and bowed. "This old man thanks young master for saving my life. You don't need to thank me. I also have some grudges with the Ha family, so I just took the opportunity." "Senior, what happened in Barren City? Why do I feel like something is wrong?" Lu Ming asked. It's still because of the savage barren ancient region." The old man briefly told him what had happened in Barren City. It turned out that many experts of Barren City's 6 strongest forces had followed Ha Zheng to the ancient savage barren realm, but only Ha Zheng and Hementi had returned. The experts of the other 6 forces had never returned. As a result, the situation in Barren City had changed dramatically. Ha family was now the dominant family. In the past, although Ha Zheng was the #1 expert in Barren City with the cultivation of Emperor to be, the other 6 forces could still compete with the Ha family if they joined forces. But now, no one could resist the Ha family. Not long ago, the Ha family had started to sweep all the forces in Barren City. Anyone who resisted would be killed without mercy. Previously, the 6 major forces had all been annihilated by the Ha family. The old man and the young woman belonged to the Huang family, one of the 6 big forces. The young woman was the daughter of the Huang family. As Hammer was a lustful man, he wanted to take the daughter of the Huang family and make her his concubine. That was why there was such a scene today. Realization dawned on Lu Ming. Almost everyone from the other forces had died in the cage battle arena of the ancient savage barren realm. It was not surprising that such a scene had occurred in the barren city. Young master, you should leave barren city now. They won't let you off for killing the HA family. The old man advised with good intentions. I don't want to leave. You should go back and report this. Lu Ming's gaze shifted to the only surviving member of the HA family. Ah! The man from the HA family was stunned. Lu Ming did not kill him. Instead, he wanted to release him and let him go back to report the news. What was happening? Chapter 1866, Chapter 1866, I'll wait for you to come and kill you. Chapter 1866, I'll wait for you to come and kill you. The old man and the Huang family's daughter were also stunned, and their faces turned pale. The head of the HA family, Ha Zheng, was an emperor-to-be expert. They did not believe that Lu Ming and the rest, who were so young, could compete with an emperor-to-be. Young master, don't be careless. The Ha Zheng is... The old man was worried and wanted to persuade Lu Ming. It's fine. Lu Ming waved his hands and then looked at the HA family member. He chided, still not leaving? Do you want to die? The man from Ha clan was so scared that his face turned pale. He ran for his life and disappeared in the blink of an eye. The old man and the Huang family's young lattice faces went pale and they were anxious. Senior, if you have something to do, you can leave first. Lu Ming said with a smile. Then take care, young master. In the end, the old man did not dare to stay there. He cupped his fists at Lu Ming and left with the Huang family's young lady, heading out of the barren city. Lu Ming and the few of them waited quietly here. Poor they killed the HA family's people and still dare to wait here? How dare he? He's like a newborn calf that's not afraid of the tiger. He's trying to be a hero, but he doesn't know how terrifying the HA family is. He'll regret it when the experts of the HA family arrive. Many people had seen what had just happened here, and they were now watching from a distance and discussing in low voices. At this moment, in a courtyard of the HA family, two beautiful women were waiting on Hammer. Hammerdy felt so good that he could die. These two young women were the daughters of other major forces. In the past, he could only look at them, but it was not so easy to get them. But now, all of them were serving him with all their hearts and allowing him to play with them. Hammer was extremely excited. He suddenly thought of Lu Ming. He felt that he should thank Lu Ming. If it weren't for Lu Ming, the powerhouses from the other forces wouldn't have entered the wild sanctuary and never returned. The barren city would have become the HA family's territory. When did he ever have such a good life? He had decided to play with all the beautiful women in the barren city. Just as he was fantasizing, a loud shout came from outside the courtyard. Young master, bad news. Hamilton's face darkened. He had already instructed that no one was to disturb him when he was doing his work. Now that the shouts outside had completely ruined his mood, he was very unhappy. After putting on his clothes, Hamilton walked out of the courtyard with a gloomy face. The middle-aged man that Lu Ming had let go of earlier was standing anxiously outside the courtyard. What is it? Why are you in such a panic? Hamilton asked with a dark face. Young master, you asked us to capture the Huang family's young lady, but someone meddled in our business halfway and saved her. They even killed the others. Young master, you must avenge them. Who is so bold to kill my Ha family's people? A cold killing intent flashed through Hammerte's eyes. At this moment, the HA family had dominated Barren City, and no one dared to disobey them. However, someone had the guts to kill a member of the HA family, which was really shocking. It's a young man and a young woman with a little girl. The middle-aged man described the appearance of Lu Ming and the rest. What? It was them? How is that possible? Hamilton's pupils shrank as he cried out in disbelief. The moment he heard it, he knew that it was Lu Ming, Xiao Yu, and Bubbles. However, didn't Lu Ming and the rest enter the savage barren ancient realm with them? Why did he come out? Could it be that Lu Ming and the rest had escaped from the savage barren ancient realm after he and Ha Zheng had escaped? Hammerdy thought that it was very possible. Back then, Lu Ming's group was not too far from the exit of the ancient savage barren realm. It was very likely that after they escaped, Lu Ming's group followed them. You're quite lucky. But since you've escaped, you should find a place to hide. You actually dare to meddle in my Ha family's affairs. You're really courting death. The killing intent in Hamilton's eyes grew stronger. Back then he was taught a miserable lesson by Lu Ming. Later on, Lu Ming even used him to threaten his father. He had lost all face. How could he not take revenge for such a great enmity? Initially he thought that Lu Ming and the rest had already died in the wild sanctuary. He did not expect that Lu Ming and the rest were not dead. They even dared to come out and ruin his plans. Weren't they seeking their own deaths? Young master, should we report this to the master? The middle-aged man said. No need. Father was injured and has only recovered recently. There's no need to disturb him for such a small matter. They'll just go find a few elders. After saying that, Hammerdy stepped out. Lu Ming and the rest were still outside the Huang family mansion. In the distance, more and more people were watching. All of a sudden, Lu Ming's eyes gleamed. He looked ahead and mumbled, "They're here." Buzz, buzz. A few streaks of light streaked across the sky and flew over at an astonishing speed. The next moment, the streaks of light receded and 5 or 6 figures appeared. The one in the lead was Hammerdy. Beside him were a few old men, each of them exuding a terrifying aura. 2 in the great circle of the Absolute Saint Realm and 3 in the peak of the Absolute Saint Realm. What a terrifying formation. One can't believe that Hamilton has deployed such a powerful formation. Who are those young men and women? Someone exclaimed in the distance. Absolute Saints in the Great Circle and the peak of the Absolute Saint Realm were definitely the top existences in Barren City. They were the overlords of a region. However, so many of them had been mobilized all of a sudden just for a young man and a woman. There's a way to heaven, but you refuse to take it. There's no door to hell, but you're here. Kid, it'll make you miserable today. When Hamilton saw Lu Ming, he burst into laughter. His eyes glowed with a cold light, especially when he looked at Qiuyu. His eyes were burning with passion. Of course, he did not dare to be careless. He followed closely beside an absolute saint in the perfection stage. He would never forget how Lu Ming and the others had taken Ha Zheng down in a strange manner in front of him. Hee, is that so? Do you know why I'm still here? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Oh, could it be that he was waiting for me? Amert said. At least you have some brains. Not bad, he'll wait for you to kill you. Lu Ming said. Kill me? Kid, you do have some combat power, but one came prepared this time. Let's see how you're going to kill me. Attack and cripple them. With the last sentence, Hamilton gave an order to the elders. Kill. A few elders exploded with cold killing intent. A total of 4 elders stepped out. One of them was in the perfected Absolute Saint Realm, and the other 3 were in the peak of the Absolute Saint Realm. This lineup was more than enough to kill Lu Ming and the others. The terrifying auras of the 4 powerhouses crushed toward Lu Ming and the others, sealing off the surroundings for fear that Lu Ming and the others would escape. However, Lu Ming, Qiuyu, and the rest did not seem to be flustered at all. Their expressions were very calm. Chapter 1867, Chapter 1867, The Destruction of the HA Family. Chapter 1867, The Destruction of the HA Family. Looking at the indifferent expressions of Lu Ming and the rest, for some reason, Hamilton suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. That won't happen. Although they can kill people in the Absolute Saint upper tier, they're definitely no match for an Absolute Saint at the peak. Furthermore, there's an Absolute Saint in the Great Circle. There won't be any accidents. Hamilton shook his head, trying to get rid of the bad thoughts in his mind. That young man and woman are finished. Now that the HA family is powerful and dominates Barren City, this young man and woman dare to provoke them. The result is already decided. That woman is going to be miserable. She's beautiful like a flower and the moon, but she's going to be defiled by Hammerdy. In the distance, many people sighed. During this time, the Ha family was dominating Barren City. Many people had suffered, but they didn't dare to say anything. At this moment, they just stood far away and talked in low voices. At this moment, Lu Ming's glabella glowed and a painting scroll flew out. It was the mountain and river diagram. From the mountain and river diagram, a tall and burly figure stepped out. Seeing this figure, Hammerty's pupils contracted sharply, and his eyes were filled with fear. He roared, "Not good, quickly retreat." The one that came out of the mountain and river diagram was naturally Huang Su. When Hammerty had entered the savage barren ancient region, he had seen people from the desolate race. At this moment, he recognized Huang Su as the person who had attacked them in the savage barren ancient region. However, it was too late. Boom, boom. Huang Su punched out a few times, and the terrifying fist force broke through the air as if it could crush everything. The terrifying pressure made the 3 absolute saints at the peak and 1 in the perfected absolute saint realm turn pale. They retreated frantically, wanting to escape. However, how could they escape from a martial supreme? The fist radiance broke through the void and crushed over. The 4 experts didn't even have time to scream before their bodies exploded and turned into ashes under the destructive power. Hamilton was almost scared to death. "Run, quickly run, run." Hamert roared as if he had gone mad. He ordered the remaining absolute saint in the great perfection stage to escape with him. However, a giant hand reached out from the ruins and grabbed in the air. A giant palm appeared out of thin air and grabbed Hammerty and the absolute saint. A terrifying force surged in, and the 2 of them were crippled at the same time. Hammert let out a shrill scream. And NBSP everyone around was flabbergasted, unable to believe what they were seeing. 2 absolute saints in the Great Circle and 3 at the peak of the absolute saint realm were a powerful force, but they were crushed like ants by Huang Su. Martial Emperor. This is a martial emperor. Who is that young man and woman? He actually has a martial sovereign behind him. He must be a heaven's favorite from a powerful force outside Barren City. No wonder he was so calm. He has a martial sovereign with him. More people's eyes lit up. Would the appearance of a martial sovereign change the current situation in Barren City? Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared beside Hamoti. His saint energy was like a blade as he slashed out, killing the absolute saint in perfection. "Don't kill me, don't kill me." Hamilton almost peed in his pants as he let out a shrill scream. "Don't worry, I won't kill you." Lu Ming grabbed Hamilton by the neck and said, "Let's go to the HF family." Then he walked toward the HA family. Chiu Yu and Huang Su followed. "I'm going to the HA family. There's going to be a good show. I wonder if Emperor Wu will make a move on the HA clan. Let's go and take a look." The others in the distance were looking forward to it, hoping that the martial sovereign would attack the HA family. If the HA family could be destroyed, the situation in Barren City would change again, and the cards would be reshuffled. This place was not far from the HA family. Not long after, they arrived in front of the HA family mansion. "Ha Zheng, come out and die," Lu Ming shouted. His voice rumbled and echoed throughout the entire Ha family mansion. "Who's looking for death?" A loud roar came from the HA family's residence. Following that, a terrifying aura burst out. A rainbow light flashed, and Ha Zheng's figure appeared in the sky. "Kid, it's you?" Mosi, Ha Zheng's gaze swept across the room. When he saw Lu Ming, a cold, killing intent burst out from his eyes. Then he saw Hammerty in Lu Ming's hands. "Brat, quickly release Mosi. Otherwise, I'll tear you into 1,000 pieces," Ha Zheng roared, but he stopped abruptly as if something was stuck in his throat. His eyes were fixed on the ruins behind Lu Ming. He hadn't noticed the ruins earlier, but now that he saw them, his eyes were filled with fear. Buzz. The next moment, Ha Zheng turned around and ran away, not caring about Hammerty at all. "You want to escape in front of me?" Huang Zu's cold voice was heard as he took a step forward. Then, above the HA family mansion, a huge foot formed, like the foot of a god, covering the entire Ha family. Ha Zheng was like a small boat in a storm, about to be destroyed at any moment. He roared. The river of laws surrounded him, and he exploded with all his power, trying to rush out of the range of the giant foot. However, it was all in vain. The giant foot stomped down, and Ha Zheng let out a blood-curdling screech. His body shattered into pieces before turning into ashes and dissipating into the air. An emperor to be died just like that? Martial sovereigns were too powerful. Anyone below the martial sovereign realm was like an ant in front of a martial sovereign. They could not even contend against a martial sovereign, not even an emperor to be. After killing Ha Zheng, the giant foot did not stop and continued to stomp. Beams of light rushed out of the Ha family mansion, trying to escape. However, under the giant foot, it was all wishful thinking. One figure after another exploded in the air and died on the spot. Boom! As the giant foot stepped into the Ha clan's mansion, the vast mansion exploded and turned into dust. The entire Ha clan was erased from the world. Alright, this way, no one will know the entrance to the ancient savage barren realm. Huang Su smiled. Lu Ming's eyes flickered, while Qiu Yu's eyes flashed with a hint of pity. It was beyond Lu Ming's expectations that the entire Ha family would be wiped out in one move. Originally, he thought that the ruins would only kill some of the higher-ups of Ha family. He didn't expect that the ruins would be more direct and obliterate the entire Ha family in one move. After that, Lu Ming sighed in his heart. The world of martial Dao was a cruel world where the strong preyed on the weak. There might be many innocent people here, but in the eyes of the ruins, he didn't care. Perhaps in his eyes, ordinary people were just like ants. If not for his talent, which earned him the attention of the desolate race, and also helped them greatly, he might have been an ant in the eyes of the desolate ruins. In such a world, Lu Ming could only make himself stronger so that he would not be treated as an ant by others and be destroyed at will. Let's go! Lu Ming sighed in his heart and turned to leave. On this day, the overlord of Barren City, the Ha family, was exterminated. On this day, it was rumored that Hammerdy had offended a peerless heaven's favorite who shouldn't have been offended. This person had descended with a martial sovereign and wiped out the Ha family with a flip of his hand. On this day, the situation in Barren City changed greatly, and heroes fought for supremacy. Chapter 1868, Chapter 1868, Heavenly Emperor City, Yuan Mountains Sacred Institute. Chapter 1868, Heavenly Emperor City, Yuan Mountains Sacred Institute. Everything that happened in the Barren City had nothing to do with Lu Ming. Half a month later, Lu Ming and the rest returned to the ancient Moon Holy Land, the Dian Elixir Hall. The ruins didn't go with them. After they destroyed the Ha family, they went back to the wild sacred realm. Lu Ming brought desolate power and the rest to the Dian Elixir Palace. After returning to the Great Yen Elixir Palace, Lu Ming immediately went to the Phoenix Palace. As expected, he found out that the Heavenly Emperor City's Yuan Mountain Saint Academy had held a meeting 2.5 months ago. Almost all the famous geniuses of the ancient Moon Holy Land had rushed to the Heavenly Emperor City. Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others naturally headed to Heavenly Emperor City. Without the competition of the younger generation, ancient Moon Holy Land became quiet. However, one could imagine how lively and intense the Heavenly Emperor City would be. Lu Ming had also planned to head to the Heavenly Emperor City's Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. When Desolate Li and the rest knew that the geniuses of the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy had gathered, they all revealed a strong desire to fight and were extremely excited. The main purpose of them following Lu Ming out was to gain experience and clash with the other prodigies so that they could improve themselves. Furthermore, the desolate race loved to fight. With so many elites gathered, they were naturally excited. Lu Ming and the rest did not waste any time. On the third day of their return to the Dian Elixir Palace, they headed to the Phoenix Palace and took the teleportation array to the Heavenly Emperor City. As for Ouyang Moli, Lu Ming had asked him to stay in the Dian Elixir Hall and cultivate with Uncle Kong. Xue Ningxin's cultivation had also broken through to the Bright Saint Realm after this period of cultivation. Lu Ming brought Xue Ningxin with him to the Heavenly Emperor City. Heavenly Emperor City was located in the central area of Mount Yuan. It was the head of the 9 holy lands of Mount Yuan. Legend had it that it was built by an unrivaled heavenly emperor expert, and the cultivation conditions were unique. However, it was said that the heavenly emperor expert had fallen a long time ago. After that, many heroes fought for power in heavenly emperor city. Now, it was occupied by many powerful forces, and they had developed into extremely powerful forces. In the 8 directions of the heavenly emperor city, there were 8 satellite cities. If the forces from other regions of the Yuan mountain wanted to reach the heavenly emperor city, they could only teleport to one of the 8 satellite cities. Ming and the rest were teleported to a satellite city in the southernmost area and then flew to the heavenly emperor city. From a distance, one could see a vast city in front of them, full of a magnificent aura. When they approached heavenly emperor city, they felt a terrifying pressure spreading out, as if a supreme existence lived in heavenly emperor city. When they walked into heavenly emperor city, what greeted their eyes were ancient buildings that had been preserved for an unknown amount of time. They asked around for the location of the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Institute. Now, everyone in the heavenly emperor city knew about the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. Created by a few emperors, the entire Yuan Mountain was filled with geniuses and attracted the attention of countless people. They easily found out the location of the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy and headed there. Heaven Emperor City was incomparably vast and boundless. It was just a city, but its surface area was much larger than Ancient Moon's sanctuary. They spent a lot of time before finally finding the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. On the tall and majestic gate, there were 4 words, Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. Stop! What are you doing here? A middle-aged man blocked Ming and the rest's path. Senior, we are here to join the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. Ming cupped his fists and explained his purpose of visit to the middle-aged man. You only came to join the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy now? The Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy has already been holding this meeting for 2 months. Don't you know? The middle-aged man's face darkened. Senior, we were delayed because we had an important matter to attend to. As soon as we finished, we rushed over. Please make an exception for us. Ming said politely. It's not impossible to make an exception. The great emperor has given the order that those who come late can also enter the Sacred Academy. However, the requirements are higher. Show me your cultivation base and let me see. The middle-aged man said. All right. Ming and the rest nodded. Following that, their auras spread out from their bodies. Great Sage Realm? What? So many great saints? The middle-aged man sensed it and his expression changed. Ming's group of more than a dozen people were almost all in the Eminent Saint stage, and they were all at the peak of the Eminent Saint stage or above. Only Xuaningxin was in the Bright Saint stage. Especially Desolate Li and the others. All of them were burly, and even the shortest one was more than 2 meters tall. Which faction did they come from? After taking a deep breath, the middle-aged man finally calmed down and said, I'm a teacher of the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. Let me tell you, the minimum condition to join the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy is to reach the Bright Saint Realm. Your spiritual body must also be a heavenly spiritual body. So, I have to check your spiritual bodies. Follow me. After saying that, the middle-aged man walked into the inner area of the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Institute, followed by Ming and the rest. After walking into the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy, one could see that there were many majestic divine mountains in the depths of the Sacred Academy, towering into the clouds. On the divine mountain, there were all sorts of buildings and palaces. There were also various buildings built on the flat land. Although every inch of land in the Heavenly Emperor City was extremely valuable and ordinary powerhouses could not live in it, the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy was jointly established by a few great emperors and naturally occupied a vast territory. No one dared to say a word. Soon, they arrived at a large hall. In the center of the hall, there was a stone tablet that looked like a crystal. This crystal steel was made by the great emperor. It can detect the level of a spirit body. All of you, walk into the crystal steel. They'll have a way to find out your spirit body level. The middle-aged man said. They'll go first. This was Desolate Li's first time leaving the wild sacred domain, so he was very curious about everything. He was the first to step forward, walking to the crystal steel. The crystal steel immediately began to glow, enveloping the desolate power. Then the crystal steel emitted a strange light. A superior-grade heavenly spiritual body. The middle-aged man was a little surprised. Then, a book appeared in his hand and he said, "What's your name? I need to register your information." "Desolate power." Desolate Li reported his name and age. "All right, you can enter the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy." After the middle-aged man filled in the information, he looked at the others. Desolate force retreated, and desolate land advanced. It's a superior-grade heavenly spiritual body again. The middle-aged man's eyes widened. Even though he had seen countless heaven's favorites during this period of time, there were only a few who had a superior-grade heaven spiritual body. He didn't expect to see two of them today. After he registered the desolate land's information, another youth from the desolate race came forward. And it's a superior-grade heavenly spiritual body. The middle-aged man gasped. It was incredible for upper-class heavenly spiritual bodies to appear consecutively and all at once. However, his surprise didn't end there. After that, his surprise turned into shock. Out of the 9 desolate race elites, there were 5 high-tier heavenly spiritual bodies and 4 middle-tier heavenly spiritual bodies. As for Lu Ming and Yu, they both had upper-grade heavenly spiritual bodies. When Bubbles went up for the test, it showed that she also had upper-grade heavenly spiritual bodies. This made the middle-aged man dumbfounded, and his heart was in turmoil. Who are these people? There were so many upper-class heaven spiritual bodies. Was there a king body among them? When these people grew up, they would be incredible. Chapter 1869, Chapter 1869, Chapter 1869, Gathering of Prodigies. Chapter 1869, Chapter 1869 Gathering of Prodigies. Finally, it was Xuan Ningxin's turn, which made him feel relieved. Xuan Ningxin's original spirit body was not a heavenly spirit body. However, before Lu Ming went to the ancient sun sanctuary, he used the Dian elixir furnace to refine Xuan Ningxin's spirit body, making it a low-grade heavenly spirit body. Alright, the test is over. You can all join the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. Wait for me here for a moment. After the middle-aged man finished speaking, he turned around and left. Not long after, he returned. With a wave of his hand, more than 10 jade tokens appeared in the air and flew toward Lu Ming and the rest. This is your identity token. Take it. In the future, you will be representing the people of the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. Also, the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy is very large and has a wide area. Therefore, you can choose your residence at will. As long as no one lives on the mountain peaks you saw before, you can choose. The middle-aged man said. Many thanks, teacher. Lu Ming and the group received it and cupped their fists to express their gratitude. Amen. There's one more thing I want to remind you all. In the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy, you all cannot fight, but you cannot kill. You cannot cripple the cultivation of your opponents. The rest is up to you all. The middle-aged man warned. Lu Ming and the rest nodded. The geniuses who joined the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy were all peak geniuses from all over the world. At the very least, they all had the heavenly spiritual body and the potential to become monarchs. If there was no restriction on killing, with so many geniuses clashing, the losses would be heavy. However, there was no restriction on fighting. This could motivate many geniuses and give them pressure, forcing them to improve. Alright, you guys can go. The middle-aged man waved his hand. Lu Ming and the rest took their leave and left the place. Then, Lu Ming took out his voice transmission jade talisman and sent a voice transmission to Long Chen and Huang Ling. Not long after, a few figures flickered over. It was Huang Ling and Long Chen. There were also a few familiar faces, Mu Qingxue and Yi Dongfang of the Thunder God sect. Lu Ming. Brother Lu. The few of them greeted Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming, you're finally here. Poor they. Huang Ling smiled as she looked at Huang Li and the others with a look of surprise. Where are you guys staying? We can talk as we walk. Lu Ming said. Some of our acquaintances live on the same mountain peak. 111 take you there. Said Huang Ling immediately. The group headed towards the depths of the Yuan Mountain's sacred academy. Not long after, they arrived at a mountain peak. On this mountain peak, there were many courtyards. When Lu Ming and the others arrived, many figures flew out. These people were all geniuses from Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and Mu Kingsu's sect. They had a good relationship and all lived on this mountain peak. Everyone greeted Lu Ming and the rest. Then, they landed in a courtyard. Lu Ming also introduced Desolate Force and the rest. Of course, Lu Ming did not mention that Desolate Li and the others were from the Desolate race. After all, the Desolate race had not yet come into being. You're also in control of the extreme limit laws? Huang Li looked at Long Chen, his eyes filled with a strong desire to fight. His body erupted with extreme nomological laws, filled with terrifying power. A powerful aura erupted from Long Chen's body as well. He stared at Desolate and circulated his nomological laws as much as he could, revealing his battle intent. It's a pity that your cultivation is still a little lacking. When you break through to the great saint perfection, we'll have a good fight. Desolate Li licked his lips, his battle intent growing stronger. Just what I wanted. Long Chen's eyes were also burning with passion. The King Path laws were the top laws of the world. In an ordinary era, a king body was extremely rare. It was only in the golden age of today that the situation of kings fighting for hegemony would appear. However, it was rare for two or more people to appear in the same generation with the same king physique. Long Chen and Desolate Power both controlled the laws of extremity. When they met, there was no way they would not fight. Furthermore, the two of them were fighting with the same king physique, which was extremely beneficial to their cultivation. This big guy actually has a king physique too. In the Phoenix Palace, the other paragons of the Divine Elephant Sect looked at Huang Li in shock. Long Chen and Desolate looked at each other, then retracted their auras. Everyone chatted for a while more. Lu Ming mainly asked about the situation of the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Institute. The geniuses of the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy are beyond our imagination. Not only are the geniuses of the 9 great holy lands gathered here, but there are also many geniuses of emperor-ranked forces. Even those ancient clans that have been hiding in seclusion have also sent geniuses to join the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. Said Huang Ling an ancient race? Lu Ming raised his eyebrows and thought of the Desolate race. Those ancient clans are called the Ancient Clans. They are forces that have existed for countless years. They have existed since ancient times. Many of them are not in the 9 sacred lands, but in their own small worlds. They have extremely deep foundations, and no one knows how strong they are. One don't know why, but this time, many geniuses from the ancient clans have appeared. Their talent and strength are all extremely shocking, and there are quite a number of king physiques. Huang Ling said, "The ancient race?" The battle intent in Huang Li, Huang Yuan, and company's eyes became even stronger. It seems like this Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy is really a gathering place. All the geniuses of the 9 great holy lands have gathered here. There's even a genius from the ancient race. Interesting. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Feng Ling, Long Chen, get out here. At this moment, a loud roar came from outside. It's Mo Lang and the others. The faces of Feng Ling, Long Chen, and the others turned ugly. Damn it, these guys really don't want to give up. Someone growled. Feng Ling, Long Chen, get out here. The voice rang out again. Lu Ming, have a seat. I'll settle it. Long Chen stepped out of the courtyard. I'll go too. Phoenix Spirit followed him out. Some of the paragons from Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant Sect also followed. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He did not get up. Instead, he spread out his spiritual sense and saw everything that was happening outside. Outside, Mo Lang, the Golden Crow's second prince, and some other heaven's favorites, a total of 7 or 8 people, were all top heaven's favorites from the ancient moon sanctuary. They stood high in the sky, looking down at Long Chen, Huang Ling, and the others. Feng Ling, Long Chen, have you made your decision? Our patience is limited. Mo Lang sneered. You want us to join you? Impossible. Get lost. Long Chen berated. Reject us? You should know the consequences. The wind race wants you to join them because they think highly of you. Don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. The second prince of the Golden Crow was enveloped in the divine fire of the great sun, and his eyes flashed with a sharp light. Don't you understand the human language? Get lost. Long Chen shouted, and a powerful aura burst out of his body. During this time, Long Chen's cultivation had also made a breakthrough, reaching the peak of the Great Saint realm. He was not far from the Great Saint Perfection realm. Obviously, he had made great progress in the past few months. Long Chen stepped on the air and headed towards Mo Lang and the others, causing their expressions to change. With Long Chen's talent and his cultivation at the peak of the Supreme Saint realm, his combat power was amazing. They were no match for him at all. Chapter 1870. Chapter 1870. The Crown Prince of the Golden Crow. Chapter 1870. The Crown Prince of the Golden Crow. At this moment, the cry of a phoenix was heard. Huang Ling's entire body was bathed in the unperishable flame. A phoenix let out a long cry and soared into the sky. Huang Ling's cultivation was similar to Long Chen's. She had also reached the peak of Supreme Saint. In Phoenix Palace, the other paragons of Divine Elephant Sect also released their auras and stared at Mo Lang and the others with unfriendly eyes. Mo Lang and the others' expressions changed again and again, and they subconsciously retreated. You're so stubborn. Don't think that you can compete with the wind race's heaven's favorite with your cultivation. You're delusional. Just you wait. Let's go. The second prince of the Golden Crow said coldly and left with Mo Lang and the others. Huang Ling and Long Chen looked at each other and saw the worry in each other's eyes. After that, they returned to the courtyard. Feng Ling, Long Chen, what happened? What's the background of the wind race? Lu Ming asked. The Wind Clan is an ancient clan. The place where they live in seclusion is actually the ancient Moon Holy Land. Some time ago, the Wind Clan appeared, and their geniuses came out to join the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy. The paragons of the wind race are extremely overbearing. They want to establish a force in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy and make all the other paragons of the ancient Moon Holy Land join them. For example, the paragons of the Black Wolf, Purple Extreme Sect, and Golden Crow race have all joined the wind race's camp. We are the only ones not joining the ancient Moon Holy Land. Huang Ling explained. They are too tyrannical. It was originally our freedom to join or not. However, the wind race announced that if we don't join, we won't be able to stay in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Mu Kingsu's expression was very ugly. Wind race? Guyu Holy Land actually has an ancient race living in seclusion. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a sharp glint. How's the strength of the wind race's heaven's favorite? Lu Ming asked. The strongest heaven's favorite of the wind race is called Wu Fengchen. He has a king body and a superior grade heaven spiritual body. He can control the law of the destructive wind and has long broken through to the absolute saint realm. He is one of the strongest heaven's favorites in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Said Huang Ling, an absolute saint king body. No wonder he's so arrogant. Lu Ming frowned slightly. His king body had reached the absolute saint realm, so his combat strength was definitely terrifying. At this moment, a sharp cry was heard in the distant sky. A golden ray of light flew toward the place where Lu Ming and the others were staying at a terrifying speed. It was a three-legged golden crow. When it spread its wings, it was at least 100 meters long. Its entire body was bathed in the divine fire of the great sun, like a sun. It's the crown prince of the Golden Crow. He's probably going to deal with Feng Ling, Long Chen, and the others. The wind race wants to unify the geniuses of ancient Moon Holy Land. They obviously have their eyes on Feng Ling and Long Chen's talents. Although their talents are high, their cultivation is still low. I'm afraid they won't be able to fight against them. Let's go and take a look. Many heaven's favorites in the nearby mountains sensed it and flew up to the sky to watch. The three-legged golden crow was extremely fast. In just a few breaths, he had reached where Lu Ming and the others were staying. He flapped his wings and a large amount of great divine sun fire poured down on them. At this moment, Lu Ming and the rest were chatting. Suddenly, everyone's expression changed. Great Sun Divine Fire, damn it, die. Huang Ling and Long Chen shouted at the same time. They shot up into the sky and attacked, extinguishing the divine sun fire. Lu Ming, Desolate Power, and the rest were moved. They were not in a hurry to take action. Gah! A screech that resounded through the firmament was heard. A young man in a golden robe appeared in the sky. His eyes were like lightning, and he was extremely domineering. A pair of golden crow wings slowly flapped behind him, and a terrifying aura enveloped the entire mountain. The Saint Realm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This three-legged golden crow actually had the cultivation of an absolute saint. The Golden Crow Crown Prince. Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others muttered with a solemn look in their eyes. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was extremely famous in the ancient Moon Holy Land. Before the Feng clan appeared, he was one of the strongest geniuses in the ancient Moon Holy Land. Especially after joining the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy, he used the resources of the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy to break through to the absolute saint realm. His reputation was even more well-known. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. More than a dozen figures appeared behind the Golden Crow Crown Prince. It was Mo Lang and the others. Feng Ling, Long Chen, I advise you to surrender and join us. Don't put up any unnecessary resistance. You should know that resistance is futile. Mo Lang shouted coldly with an arrogant expression. If you want to be the dogs of the wind race, go ahead. We're not interested in that. Long Chen said. How audacious! The Golden Crow Crown Prince's wings flapped, and flames spread out, making him look even more majestic. He glanced coldly at Long Chen and Feng Ling and said, in the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy, although one can't kill you, one can still injure you severely. If you don't agree, one will beat you up every time I see you. I will make it so that you won't be able to stay in the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. A sick bird. What big words. Is the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy opened by you? A mocking voice came from a side courtyard. Who is it? The Golden Crow Crown Prince's face was dark as he looked at the courtyard. He actually dared to call him a sick bird. He was looking for death. Then, more than a dozen figures stepped into the air. Lu Ming was walking in front, followed by Huang Li, Qiu Yu, and the others. Lu Ming. Mo Lang, the second prince of the Golden Crow, and the others' expressions changed. So, you are Lu Ming. The Golden Crow Crown Prince's eyes grew even colder. I'm sure. Lu Ming smiled. Good, very good. In the past, if one hadn't always been in Heaven Emperor City, how could you have acted so atrociously in ancient Moon Holy Land? I thought you wouldn't dare to come to ancient Moon Holy Land. Since you're here, I'll teach you a good lesson today and take revenge for Ninth Brother and the others. A cold, killing intent flashed in the eyes of the Golden Crow Crown Prince. If it were not for the fact that killing was forbidden in the Sacred Institute, he would have killed Lu Ming. However, even if he couldn't kill Lu Ming, he could still humiliate him and step on him in front of everyone so that he wouldn't be able to lift his head in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Boom, boom. The Golden Crow Crown Prince continued to step forward, and the divine sunfire on his body became even hotter. The flames filled the sky and his aura was wild as he pressed toward Lu Ming. Feng Ling, Long Chen, and the others all released their auras, ready to fight. I didn't expect to meet such a character as soon as I came out. Leave this bird to me. Behind Lu Ming, desolately grinned. His eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. He stepped forward and walked toward the Golden Crow Crown Prince. Lu Ming stood still. Since the desolate power wanted to make a move, he would just let it move. You're just a great saint. Get down. The Golden Crow Crown Prince had a haughty expression on his face as he casually glanced at Desolate Li. With a palm strike, flames gathered and formed a giant flaming palm that slammed down on Desolate Li. Lie down, your sister. Sick bird, you're the one who's lying down. Die. Desolate Li roared as his muscles bulged. He punched out and destroyed the flaming palm. Without stopping, he charged towards the Golden Crow Crown Prince and punched out. The Golden Crow Crown Prince's expression changed. He bent his fingers like a claw and clawed at Desolate Li. Chapter 1871. Chapter 1871. Lu Ming's Challenge. Chapter 1871. Lu Ming's Challenge. Boom. Huang Li's fist collided with the Golden Crow Crown Prince's claw. Instantly, the Golden Crow Crown Prince's expression changed as he retreated rapidly. His palm trembled slightly as a sharp pain came from it. His finger had almost been broken by Huang Li's punch. Lu Ming is right. He's indeed a sick bird. Desolately grinned. It caused the other desolate race youths to burst out in laughter. The Golden Crow Crown Prince spat out these two words in anger, his eyes flashing with cold, killing intent. Just now, he had been too careless. Furthermore, he had not expected that Desolate's punch would contain such a terrifying amount of power. Kill! The Golden Crow Crown Prince let out a long howl and transformed into his true form. He turned into a huge three-legged golden crow. His cultivation of the lower-tier absolute saint realm burst out. He flapped his wings and charged toward Desolate. The terrifying great sun divine fire seemed to be able to incinerate everything as it poured towards the desolate power. Huang Li wore a pair of gloves on his hands. He circulated his nomological laws as he punched out continuously. Every punch caused the sky to rumble and form a vacuum. The terrifying fist force smashed towards the Golden Crow Crown Prince, destroying the great sun divine fire. Buzz! The Golden Crow Crown Prince's body had shrunk to the size of a normal person, but his speed was even more shocking. He was like a golden ray of light as he pounced towards Huang Li. His three golden crow claws were extremely hard and seemed to be able to pierce through everything. At the same time, his wings were like blades as they slashed towards Huang Li. Desolate power responded to all changes by remaining still. It stood in the air unmoving as it punched out with both fists, clashing fiercely with the Golden Crow Crown Prince. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged dozens of blows. Desolate power was able to hold back the Golden Crow Crown Prince's attacks. A superior-grade heavenly spiritual body. Lu Ming muttered. The Golden Crow Crown Prince's spiritual body was also a superior-grade heavenly spiritual body. With his cultivation at the absolute saint realm, his combat power was indeed very strong. Lu Ming understood that although he could temporarily resist the desolate power, he would definitely lose if the situation dragged on. After all, there was a huge difference between a supreme saint and an absolute saint. The law of extremity, it's the king body. The heavens' favorites who were attracted here were shocked. Even in the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy where geniuses were as common as clouds, there weren't many king physiques. Every king physique that appeared would attract a lot of attention. Once the king physique matured, it would definitely be very terrifying. The intense battle between Desolate Power and the Golden Crow Crown Prince continued. However, just as Lu Ming had expected, the Golden Crow Crown Prince's attacks became more and more violent. Desolate Power was gradually losing and was being suppressed. "I'll go help him." A figure stepped out from behind Lu Ming. It was Qiu. Two scimitars flew out of Qiu's body. One was extremely cold, and the other was scorching hot. The two scimitars spun and turned into a destructive force that shot toward the Golden Crow First Prince. The terrifying power shocked the Golden Crow Crown Prince. He immediately counterattacked with his full power. The power of the Divine Sunfire and Qiu collided. However, the Golden Crow Crown Prince still underestimated Qiu. The two curved blades broke through the godly Sunfire and slashed towards the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Golden Crow Crown Prince quickly retreated in shock, but he was still swept by the blades, and golden feathers fell all over the sky. "Bah, bird feathers all over the sky. Kill, die!" Huang Li shouted as he charged at the Golden Crow Crown Prince, his fists punching out. As for Qiu, she used her desolate power and the laws of yin and yang to attack the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Golden Crow Crown Prince used all his power to fight the two, but he was actually forced into a disadvantage. Another king physique. Why are there so many king physiques? In the distance, many people were shocked. Desolate Power and Qiu were both new, and they were together with Feng Ling and Long Chen. This meant that Feng Ling and Long Chen had 4 king bodies. 4 king bodies. Their cultivation was still a little weak, but if they all became absolute saints, What kind of power would they have? Despicable, 2 against 1. The second prince of the Golden Crow roared. An ultimate saint fighting a great saint? You still have the face to say that? How about this? It's only fair to fight on the same level. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the Golden Crow's second prince and the others as he spoke in disdain. The second prince of the Golden Crow and the others were tongue-tied for a moment. In a battle of the same level, only the body of a king could compete with someone of the same level. Lu Ming had so many body of a king. What did they have to fight against someone of the same level? Their advantage was their cultivation and realm. How could he give up his strong points and take his weak points? Lady Chuyue, you're a member of the only divine temple. Are you going to interfere in our affairs? The Golden Crow's second prince turned his attention to Qiuyu, hoping that she would back out of this matter. However, Qiuyu couldn't be bothered with the second Golden Crow prince and attacked even more fiercely. Desolate Power and Qiuyu, one attacking from close range and the other from afar, worked together to create a terrifying battle power. The Golden Crow Crown Prince roared in anger, but he could do nothing. The Golden Crow Crown Prince had used all his strength, but he was at most on par with Qiuyu and Desolate Li. Sometimes he was even at a disadvantage. Although the Golden Crow Crown Prince's cultivation was strong and had reached the initial absolute saint realm, he had just broken through not long ago. Furthermore, the laws he controlled weren't king path laws. Qiuyu and Desolate Li were both great saints in the Great Circle, not far from the absolute saint realm. The two of them working together were no weaker than the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The two sides exchanged dozens of moves, but it was still difficult to determine the winner. That's amazing. 2 king physiques. Moreover, they are both following Lu Ming. Huang Ling and Long Chen were fine since they had seen Qiuyu before. However, the other geniuses of the Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, Mu Qingxue, Yi Dongfang, and the others were all shocked. There were actually 2 king physique experts who came with Lu Ming. Moreover, their cultivation had reached the great saint perfection, which was even stronger than Feng Ling and Long Chen. What about the combat strength of the rest? Many people could not help but cast their gazes towards the remaining Desolate race members. However, Huang Tian and the others were looking at the battlefield, and they were all eager to fight. In the past, when they were in the wild sacred region, they had only faced a limited number of geniuses. When had they ever seen so many geniuses? They felt like their blood was boiling and their battle intent was burning. They wanted to fight just like Desolate Power. Lu Ming, fight me if you're so capable. What's the point of hiding? The Golden Crow Crown Prince let out a long cry as he continuously shot out great solar divine fire, forcing Qiuyu and Desolate Power back. You want to fight with me? Fine, I'll fight with you. Let's go to the life and death battle stage. Do you dare? Lu Ming spoke, his voice exuding a terrifying murderous intent. A life and death battle. The Golden Crow Crown Prince's heart skipped a beat and he hesitated. He had heard of Lu Ming's combat strength. However, no matter how strong Lu Ming was, he was no match for him. However, those who stepped into the life and death battle stage would have a life and death battle. It was allowed to kill one's opponent in the life and death arena. The Sacred Institute didn't forbid it. This was extremely dangerous. Since the start of the Sacred Institute, not many people had stepped onto the life and death battle stage. What's wrong? You wanted to challenge me to a battle earlier, but now you don't dare to? He's so arrogant, but he's just a coward. Lu Ming sneered coldly, his mockery growing stronger. Lu Ming, you don't know this, do you? These people only know how to bully the weak and fear the strong. They use their power to bully others and take advantage of others' might. If they meet someone stronger or more ruthless, they'll immediately become tortoises. Long Chen sneered, causing the others to burst into laughter. Chapter 1872, Chapter 1872, The Great Battle Against the Golden Crow Crown Prince. Chapter 1872, The Great Battle Against the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Golden Crow Crown Prince's heart was filled with anger, and his eyes were extremely dark. If you don't dare to fight, then get lost. Lu Ming shouted, his voice spreading far and wide. If you want to fight, Then let's fight. Lu Ming, let's fight on the life and death stage. 111 definitely kill you today. The Golden Crow Crown Prince howled. All right. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled up slightly, and his eyes were filled with a cold eye-ite. Chiyue, desolate power, you two stand down. Let me do it. Good huh? Desolate Li laughed and threw a few more punches as he retreated with Chiuyu. The Golden Crow Crown Prince retracted his divine sunfire and transformed into a tall young man in a golden robe. He looked at Lu Ming with eyes full of killing intent. Let's go to the life and death battle stage. The first prince of the Golden Crow turned around and left. Mo Lang, the second prince of the Golden Crow, and the others followed. Lu Ming, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the rest also headed in that direction. The life and death battle is about to begin. Let's go and take a look. The crowd that was watching from afar also followed. Not long after, they came to an open space where there was a huge purple-gold battle platform. It was said that this battle platform was made of a special metal by the great emperor. Ordinary martial sovereigns would find it difficult to break it, so they could fight to their heart's content on it. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was the first to step onto the fighting ring. He glared at Lu Ming with intense killing intent and shouted, Lu Ming, come up and die. Lu Ming took a step forward and stepped into the fighting ring. Brother Lu Ming, all the best. Kill him. One wanna eat bird meat, chirping. Bubbles waved her tiny fists and yelled, causing the few Golden Crow race elites to have extremely ugly expressions. This little guy actually wanted to eat Golden Crow meat, which made them feel a burst of anger. However, there were still people who were in high spirits. Is this three-legged bird meat delicious? It's not poisonous, right? Desolate Li had a simple and honest look. It's not poisonous, it's not poisonous. It's delicious. Brother Lu Ming and one once had a wing. The meat is fresh and tender. It's really delicious when paired with fine wine. Chirpy. Bubbles squinted her eyes and licked her lips as she reminisced. It's that good. Huang Li, Huang Lai, and the other youths of the desolate race grinned as their eyes lit up. They stared at the Golden Crow on the stage, wishing they could bite the Golden Crow. The Golden Crow First Prince, the Golden Crow Second Prince, and a few other Golden Crow race heaven's favorites almost spat out blood. They were so angry that they were shaking. However, Lu Ming smiled and said, I'm sorry, the children at home are not easy to take care of and have a picky appetite. You should just contribute. Contribution, your sister. The Golden Crow Crown Prince almost cursed it out loud. In the end, he shouted, Lu Ming, I'll devour you today. Kill. The Golden Crow First Prince transformed into his true form. With a flap of his wings, he pounced toward Lu Ming. Its three extremely sharp claws clawed at Lu Ming, trying to tear him apart. Boom. Lu Ming circulated his holy power, and his cultivation was undoubtedly revealed. The people watching the battle were all stunned. Peak of the Great Saint Realm. This man is only at the peak of the Great Saint Realm, but he dares to fight the Golden Crow Crown Prince on the life and death battle stage. How dare he? This man is dead for sure. In the battle just now, only two king physiques of the Great Saint Perfection could fight against the Golden Crow Crown Prince. This man's cultivation is at the peak of the Great Saint Realm. He can't be the Golden Crow Crown Prince's opponent. This person has just arrived at the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy and he's already about to die. What a pity! As soon as Lu Ming revealed his cultivation, the paragons around him shook their heads. These heaven's favorites are very talented and knowledgeable. Especially during this period of time, how many geniuses have they seen? However, it was almost impossible for him to fight against the Golden Crow Crown Prince at the peak of the Supreme Saint Realm. Even the few sons of God would find it difficult to do so. They all thought that Lu Ming was dead for sure. However, the next moment, everyone's eyes widened. What law is that? The laws of chaos, it's the laws of chaos. Whoa whoa, another son of God. Many people shouted in shock. Boom. At this moment, Lu Ming's punch collided with the Golden Crow Crown Prince's sharp claws, creating a violent boom. Then, the Golden Crow Crown Prince's huge body was sent flying by Lu Ming's punch, and Lu Ming himself was also pushed back a distance. They were evenly matched. Many people's hearts trembled. Lu Ming had actually blocked the attack of the Golden Crow Crown Prince. With his cultivation at the peak of the Great Saint Realm, this was too shocking. Die! The Golden Crow Crown Prince let out a long cry and spread his wings. He flapped them and pounced toward Lu Ming again, launching an even more aggressive attack. Lu Ming activated the prison-suppressing heavenly art and the laws of chaos covered his body. With every punch, a prison-suppressing steel appeared and pressed down on the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The two of them clashed continuously, and they were both equally matched. Great sun burns the heavens. Chaos Finger! The Golden Crow Crown Prince and Lu Ming cast their divine abilities at the same time. A huge sun and a huge finger collided. The two of them were in a stalemate for a while. In the end, the sun was no match for the Chaos Tribulation Finger and exploded. The Golden Crow Crown Prince retreated frantically. In the competition of divine abilities, Lu Ming had the advantage. Now, Lu Ming's Chaos Finger Tribulation was approaching 70%. It was so powerful that it was comparable to 90% of the power of ordinary magical powers with laws as the core. And the Golden Crow Crown Prince's technique was only 80% complete. Kill! Lu Ming charged at the Golden Crow Crown Prince, his fingers pointing out continuously. Several Chaos Fingers of Tribulation formed at the same time and attacked the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Golden Crow Crown Prince unleashed his full power. Flames filled the sky, forming many suns that shot toward Lu Ming. And NBSP, the fighting stage, continued to rumble as it was filled with solar fire and chaotic law energy. Seal! Lu Ming's right hand pointed with the Chaos Finger of Tribulation and his left hand operated the Law of Formation. Countless runes appeared and formed a terrifying sealing power. It passed through the Golden Crow Crown Prince's divine sunfire and covered his entire body. The power of the seal was trying to seal the Golden Crow Crown Prince. This scene also shocked the other spectators. Two types of nomological laws. How can this person control two types of nomological laws? An ultimate law and a king path law. Unbelievable, unbelievable. The people present were all geniuses from all over the world. They had seen many things, but they had never seen someone like Lu Ming. They could not suppress the excitement in their hearts and some of them even shouted loudly. Not good. The expressions of the second Golden Crow Prince, Mo Lang, and the others changed drastically. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was at a disadvantage. At this moment, the Golden Crow Crown Prince himself was also shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength had far exceeded his imagination. Break! The Golden Crow Crown Prince let out a long cry as a pair of wings appeared behind him. With a flap of his wings, they sliced through the array Dao laws covering his body like heavenly blades. Then, endless flames spread out and annihilated Lu Ming's Chaos Finger of Tribulation. Buzz! The wings attached to the Golden Crow Crown Prince's body, causing his aura to rise rapidly. Chapter 1873, Chapter 1873, Chapter 1873, Killing the Golden Crow. Chapter 1873, Chapter 1873 Killing the Golden Crow Monarch Weapon. It's a monarch weapon. Despicable. It was a fair battle and he actually used a monarch weapon. Huang Ling shouted. What despicable? This is a life and death battle. There's no rule against using monarch weapons. Monarch weapons are also a form of strength. Mo Lang sneered and a smile appeared on his face. With the monarch weapon in his hand, the Golden Crow Crown Prince was more than capable of killing Lu Ming even if he could not unleash its full power. Lu Ming, I've said it before. Today is the day you die. Kill. The Golden Crow Crown Prince's voice was cold as he returned to his high and mighty self. He flapped his golden wings and charged toward Lu Ming. The monarch weapon's power burst out with earth-shaking power. Do you think you're the only one with a monarch weapon? Let's go, Lu Ming said calmly. The space between his brows glowed, and the Taiyi formation disc flew out. It expanded rapidly, and a Taiyi pattern appeared on it, pressing down on the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Taiyi formation disc was a treasure on the same level as sovereign weapons. As Lu Ming's cultivation level increased, The power he could unleash became stronger and more mysterious. The wings on the golden crow's back launched attacks one after another, but they were all blocked by the Taiyi formation disc. Buzz! Buzz! Lu Ming took the opportunity to attack. A few fingers of tribulation of chaos were pointed at the golden crow. The golden crow's eyes narrowed and his saint power burst out. His golden wings shone with golden light and flew out of his body, turning into a huge three-legged golden crow. With a flap of his wings, raging flames spread and extinguished Lu Ming's chaotic finger of tribulation. Press! Lu Ming's mind moved. The Taiyi formation plate seized the opportunity and pressed down on the golden crow crown prince. The golden crow let out a long cry and pounced toward the Taiyi formation disc. It crashed into the formation disc and sent it flying. Then, the golden crow flapped its wings and pounced at Lu Ming. Go to hell! The golden crow crown prince revealed a sinister smile. Lu Ming stood in the fighting ring, motionless. His face was calm as if he did not see the sovereign weapon that was pouncing at him. As the golden crow neared Lu Ming, a pill furnace appeared in his hand. The Dian elixir furnace. The Dian elixir furnace quickly grew to the size of a mountain. The lid of the elixir furnace opened and a shocking suction force erupted. Come in! Lu Ming grabbed one of the cauldron's legs and scooped the monarch weapon into the cauldron. He then quickly closed the lid. He didn't know what grade of treasure the Dian elixir furnace was, but the pair of wings couldn't break out at all. Return my monarch weapon! The golden crow crown prince roared. If you're still thinking about the monarch weapon, then worry about yourself. Kill. Die. Lu Ming shouted and used the divine sword technique. Two sword gleams shot out from his eyes and rushed into the golden crow crown prince's body. The golden crow crown prince's body trembled, and then the Taiyi formation plate pressed down. A Taiyi pattern covered the golden crow crown prince. Lu Ming was even more violent. He lifted the Dian elixir furnace and threw it at the golden crow crown prince. Lu Ming's attack was like a storm. The golden crow crown prince could not withstand it at all and was hit on the head by the Dian elixir furnace. With a thump, Crown Prince Jianghu was knocked dizzy, his head almost split open, and his body fell heavily on the fighting stage. Bush, bush. The Taiyi pattern turned into the yin-yang fish sword and pierced through the golden crow crown prince's wings, making him scream in pain. Thump. Lu Ming lifted the Dian elixir furnace and smashed it on the golden crow crown prince's head again. This time, the golden crow crown prince was severely injured. His head cracked open and blood flowed out. The divine sun fire that filled his body was extinguished. He was on the verge of death. Lu Ming put away the Taiyi formation disc and the Dian elixir furnace and stepped on the golden crow first crown prince's head. Stop, Lu Ming. My big brother is the #1 prodigy of the golden crow clan. If you kill him, the golden crow clan will never let you off. The second golden crow prince roared. The wind race won't let you off either. Mo Lang followed suit. Hee, do you think that there is still room for reconciliation between me and the golden crow tribe? Lu Ming had a look of disdain on his face. He had already killed several crown princes of the golden crow clan. The two sides were mortal enemies. How could they ease the tension? If he didn't kill the crown prince, would the golden crow race let him go? As for the wind race, Lu Ming looked at Mo Lang. If the wind race wants a fight, Lu Ming, will accept it. As for the golden crow crown prince, since he has stepped onto the life and death stage, he must die if he loses. An absolute holy weapon sword appeared in Lu Ming's hand and he thrust it at the golden crow first prince's head. Blood splattered everywhere. The golden crow crown prince's head was pierced by Lu Ming, and his soul was also destroyed. The crown prince of the golden crow was dead. What a powerful combat strength. This person's combat strength is too shocking. The son of chaos who controls the laws of chaos is indeed amazing. This is the third person in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy who has controlled the strongest law. It's a pity that his cultivation is a little weak. It's still difficult to compete with the strongest heaven's favorites. However, when he grows up, he will be extremely terrifying. Some people in the surroundings were discussing excitedly. Yet another child of God had appeared. This was truly a golden age. Not only were the kings fighting for hegemony, but the philosophers were also fighting for supremacy. The second Golden Crow Prince and the others had extremely ugly expressions on their faces, especially those from the Golden Crow clan. They were all exuding a terrifying killing intent. The Crown Prince of the Golden Crow clan was dead. The most powerful genius of the Golden Crow clan was killed by Ming just like that. Most likely, if some of the older members of the Golden Crow clan were to find out about this, they would be enraged. Ming, give me my brother's corpse. The Golden Crow's second prince coldly spoke. I'll leave it to you. How can you be so naive? This is my trophy. Moreover, don't you see that a few of my friends are very interested in the Golden Crow meat? Ming smiled faintly and continued. You dare? The second prince of the Golden Crow was so angry that his entire body was trembling. He glared at Ming. What's there to be afraid? It's not like I haven't done it before. Ming smiled. With a wave of his hand, he kept the corpse of the first Golden Crow Prince. Then, he looked at the second Golden Crow Prince and berated, Why aren't you all getting lost? Do you all want to come up and fight? I'll take you on. Just you wait, Feng Wuchen is in seclusion in the holy battlefield. When he comes out, I'll be the day of your death. The second prince of the Golden Crow was furious, but he did not dare to fight Ming. After leaving behind a few harsh words, he left with Mo Lang and the rest. Brother Ming is so powerful. There's Golden Crow meat to eat, Chirpy. Pow Pow rushed to Ming's shoulder and shouted excitedly. Let's go back and eat Golden Crow meat. Ming smiled and returned to the mountain peak where he lived with the rest. Not long after, a fragrant smell drifted out from the mountain and spread for 10 miles. That night, the entire Golden Crow entered everyone's stomach, especially the 9 elites of the desolate race. They ate until their mouths were full of oil, and even the bones were not spared. They were all swallowed by the 9 youths of the desolate race. Even so, they were still not satisfied. Their eyes lit up, and they wondered if they should catch a few more to eat. Chapter 1874, Chapter 1874, Chapter 1874, Saint King Ranking, Chapter 1874, Chapter 1874 Saint King Ranking. The first day of Ming and the rest at the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute ended just like that. After eating and drinking to their fill, they randomly chose a few courtyards to stay in. In any case, the area here was vast and incomparably empty, so there were plenty of empty courtyards. The next day, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others brought Ming and the others around the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute. The Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy was built by a few great emperors and other emperor-ranked experts. They spent several years to build it. There are many wondrous places that are extremely helpful to cultivation. As the group walked, Huang Ling introduced them. That's true. In the past few months, many people have entered the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy and used the resources here to improve their cultivation. We are the same, Long Chen said. How many geniuses are there in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy? Ming asked curiously. It's beyond our imagination. Huang Ling's expression was serious. The requirements to enter the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy are to be at the Bright Saint Realm and have a low-tier heavenly spiritual body. This time, there are more than 10,000 people from the 9 Holy Lands, various monarch-level forces, and some ancient clans. Over 10,000 people? Ming gasped. He was very shocked. There were actually over 10,000 people who met the requirements. How shocking was this? These people all had the potential to become Saint Emperors. Even if they only had the potential, it was impossible for so many of them to become Saint Emperors. That was already extremely shocking. There were so many people in a generation. There were many emperor-level powerhouses in the Yuan Mountain, but they had been accumulated over countless years. It would be terrifying if thousands of martial emperors appeared in a generation. Ming finally understood what the Golden Age was. At this moment, Ming saw a stone tablet soaring into the sky. It was as tall as the mountain peak and could be seen at a glance even from far away. That's the Saint King ranking, let's go take a look, said Huang Ling. The group moved forward and soon appeared under the huge stone tablet. There were names on the stone tablet that were giving off a golden light. At a glance, there were about 40 names. The Saint King ranking represents the strongest group of people in the Saint Realm in the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy. However, those who want to be on the ranking must be at least in the Saint Realm. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was at the bottom, but he has disappeared. Huang Ling explained. I heard that only 100 people can make it onto the Saint King ranking, but since most of them haven't reached the absolute saint level yet, there are only 42 people. Long Chen added. Lu Ming understood now. It seemed that there were only 42 absolute saints in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. If everyone's cultivation improved in the future, there would be more than 100 absolute saints. Then, the Saint King ranking would only show the strongest 100 people. The Star River. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the 42 names. The first name was the most eye-catching. It was called the Eternal Star River. Xinghe, this person is extremely terrifying. He is one of the sons of God, born with an eternal body, and controls one of the 10 strongest laws, the Eternal Law. It is said that this person is the descendant of the Heavenly Emperor, and he has the bloodline of the Heavenly Emperor. Huang Ling spoke. When she spoke of this person, her expression became very serious and fearful. The descendant of the Heavenly Emperor, the Heavenly Emperor who founded Heavenly Emperor City? Lu Ming asked. That's right. Although the Heavenly Emperor has fallen, he has left behind descendants who are one of the strongest forces in the Heavenly Emperor City. Huang Ling nodded. Then, Lu Ming continued to look at the names. Luo Zhangqiong 10th. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold glint. Luo Zhangqiong, the number 1 genius of the Daluo Heaven sect, had deprived Qiu Yu of her memory. Lu Ming would have to fight with him sooner or later. The Death Blade is only ranked 12th? Lu Ming muttered. The Death Blade was one of the 6 silver inheritors of the Hunyuan sect. He controlled the Death Law and was the son of Death, one of the 10 strongest laws. He was also one of the sons of God like Heng Xing and Atong, but his ranking was much lower. The Death Blade's cultivation is a little weak, so his ranking isn't high. Huang Ling explained. Then, Lu Ming saw a familiar face. It was Luo Tianyi, who was ranked 36th. Is this ranking accurate? What is the basis for that? Lu Ming asked. When the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy first opened, all the geniuses swarmed in at the same time. No one was willing to submit to the other, and naturally, intense battles broke out. Many of the supreme geniuses clashed with each other, and the rankings of the teachers of the Sacred Academy were determined by the battles. Said Huang Ling, isn't this not allowed? Lu Ming said. That's right, because some people are more low-key and didn't use their full strength. Some people didn't even make a move, so this Saint King ranking isn't very accurate for the time being. Some of the lower rankings might have astonishing battle strength, but no one can say for sure. I guess it will be rearranged in the future? Also, after a few months of fighting, the strongest geniuses have all entered the absolute saint battlefield to cultivate in seclusion. They're trying to break through and suppress everyone else. Said Huang Ling, so many chosen. This is great. Ha! Desolate Li was extremely excited. The other members of the Desolate race were similarly excited. Their eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Lu Ming memorized the dozens of names on the Saint King ranking, and the group walked in the other direction. Following that, Lu Ming saw many wonderful places, many of which were helpful for cultivation. For example, one of the places was called the Mystic Purgatory Valley. There were powerful challenges there, and one could cultivate mystic arts. However, one had to pay a certain amount of raw stones to enter these places. A large amount of energy was required to maintain these cultivation grounds. Although the great emperors had built them, they did not have enough resources to maintain them. Naturally, they had to collect the corresponding ori rocks. 111 cultivate here. You guys can choose where you want to cultivate. Lu Ming said to the Desolate race. Only by choosing the most suitable place for cultivation would it be of the greatest help. I'm cultivating here with brother Lu Ming. Pao Pao said. Divine Power, Purgatory Valley. We've been here for a while. Let's go somewhere else to cultivate, said Huang Ling, I want to go to the Power God Valley. Desolate Li revealed a look of anticipation. Then, everyone split up and went to choose their own places to cultivate. Lu Ming and Bubbles walked towards the divine ability, Purgatory Valley. The sacred art, Purgatory Valley, was a vast valley. It was pitch black inside, and nothing could be seen. It was as if it led to the abyss of purgatory. A profound formation had been set up here, and it could accommodate many people to cultivate at the same time. There were naturally guards at the entrance of the valley. Before entering, one had to apply for a jade card to enter the valley and store some raw stones inside. Then, for every day of cultivation, the jade card would deduct 1 day's worth of raw stones. If a person cultivated inside for too long, the raw stones deposited in advance would be deducted and they would have to pay back when they came out. Lu Ming stored Bubbles and 3 months' worth of raw gemstones at one go. He then walked into the divine ability, Purgatory Valley. Chapter 1875, Chapter 1875. Both of them broke through. Chapter 1875. Both of them broke through as soon as Lu Ming stepped into the valley. His surroundings changed. He realized that he was in a desolate valley. It was pitch black and empty. Even Bubbles were not by his side. Suddenly, a few figures condensed in front of him. They were blurry and their faces could not be seen clearly. Buzz and NBSP whoosh. The few figures pounced on Lu Ming one after another, as fast as lightning. Lu Ming squinted his eyes slightly. The laws of chaos covered his entire body. He activated the prison-suppressing heaven technique and punched out with both fists. The figures also launched various attacks. Some were punches, some were palm strikes, and some were finger forces. However, they all had one thing in common. They all used the laws of chaos. Bang, bang. There were consecutive collisions and a few figures were sent flying by Lu Ming. He can indeed use the laws of chaos. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with surprise. He had heard from Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others that this superpower, Purgatory Valley, was extremely mysterious. The human figures condensed here could use the same laws as the ones who entered. The deeper one went into the valley, the stronger the power of the person who used the laws would be. Bang. Lu Ming took a step forward and rushed toward the few figures, increasing his strength. There were a few consecutive explosions and the few figures were defeated by Lu Ming. Although these figures could use the laws of chaos, they were very weak. They were far inferior to Lu Ming and naturally could not withstand a single blow. After defeating a few figures, Lu Ming stepped forward. He had not gone far when a few more figures appeared. These figures could still use the laws of chaos and were more powerful than the previous figures. However, they were far inferior to Lu Ming and were still defeated by him in a few moves. Lu Ming continued to move forward. In this way, Lu Ming defeated dozens of groups of figures. The figures he encountered were getting stronger and stronger. The power of the law of chaos was getting closer and closer to Lu Ming's. They could even use the finger of chaos just like Lu Ming. Lu Ming finally felt the pressure. He circulated the chaos laws at full force and fought with the other party. Bush, bush, bush. A total of 3 figures pointed their fingers at the same time. 3 huge fingers came from 3 directions and attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. He was highly focused and his figure changed. At the moment his figure changed, he pointed out 3 fingers at an extremely fast speed. Similarly, 3 huge fingers formed and pointed towards the other party. The 6 huge fingers collided with each other and were in a stalemate in the air. However, in the end, Lu Ming was still stronger. The other party's chaotic finger of tribulation collapsed and his body was also destroyed by Lu Ming. The power of these figures' chaotic finger of tribulation is very close to mine. If it was a little stronger, it would not be so easy for me to win. But this is good. It will help me improve. Lu Ming pondered and took another step forward. He had not walked far when another figure appeared and attacked Lu Ming. This time, the figure's mastery of the laws of chaos was no weaker than Lu Ming's. Lu Ming and the 3 figures engaged in an intense battle. The laws of chaos pervaded the air and collided continuously. It was extremely rare to collide with the same laws. This way, one could better see one's shortcomings and improve. It was obvious that the great emperors had spent a lot of effort to build such a place. This time, the battle lasted for a full half an hour before Lu Ming finally defeated the three figures. My chaos finger of tribulation is close to 70%. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Previously, Lu Ming's chaos finger of tribulation was about 69% complete. Now, it was close to 70% complete. If he cultivated like this, it wouldn't take long for him to reach 70%. Lu Ming continued to move forward. This time, the figure that appeared was even more powerful. After fighting with Lu Ming for more than an hour, Lu Ming still could not defeat the other party. In the end, his holy energy ran out and he could only retreat. As long as Lu Ming retreated, the few figures would not pursue him. After Lu Ming's holy power recovered, he continued to fight. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. A few figures were fighting in an extremely intense manner. Lu Ming kept pointing out the chaos finger of tribulation. The power of the chaos finger of tribulation suddenly soared. The chaotic fingers of tribulation that the three figures pointed out were instantly crushed by Lu Ming. The terrifying force shattered the three figures. Primal chaos tribulation finger, 70%. Lu Ming muttered and revealed a faint smile. Lu Ming's chaotic finger of tribulation had broken through in just 2 days of cultivation. Although the difference between 69% and 70% seemed very close, the difference in power was very large. Once it broke through 70%, it would be another level. For an ordinary martial artist, it was impossible to break through 70% without the cultivation of an absolute saint realm. Moreover, the chaotic finger was even more difficult to cultivate. Of course, all the rules were meant to be broken by geniuses. This was truly a good place. No wonder all the geniuses of the entire Yuan mountain would gather here. A cultivation sanctuary jointly built by several great emperors was indeed extraordinary. Furthermore, there would also be a Tao lecture by a great emperor. The geniuses would clash with each other. This way, the cultivation speed of this batch of geniuses would definitely increase, forcing out their potential and pushing them to a higher realm. Continue. Lu Ming revealed an excited expression and continued to move forward. Lu Ming had been cultivating in the Purgatory Valley. Time passed day by day, and in the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. Lu Ming cultivated tirelessly and his apocalyptic finger of chaos progressed very quickly. In less than 2 months, he had reached 80% mastery in the apocalyptic finger of chaos. One had to know that the higher the sacred art was, the harder it was to improve. The closer it was to perfection, the more difficult it was to improve it. In less than 2 months, he was able to raise it to 80%. The speed was already very terrifying. If he were to cultivate normally, he might not even be able to achieve it even after several years. Moreover, as he continued to fight with those figures, Lu Ming's saint energy was constantly being condensed and strengthened. It was approaching the great saint perfection at a rapid speed. On this day, Lu Ming felt the saint energy in his body surge like a flood after a huge battle with 3 figures. It was unbelievably fast. "I'm about to break through." Lu Ming was overjoyed. After nearly 2 months of continuous fighting, his cultivation had finally reached 0. He was about to break through to the great sage perfection. Lu Ming retreated and sat down cross-legged. He took out a large pile of raw gemstones and began to strive for the great saint perfection realm. In a luxurious courtyard in the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy, the second prince of the Golden Crow, Mo Lang, and the others were all standing respectfully in front of a green-robed young man. "The Golden Crow Crown Prince is dead? How dare you?" the green-robed young man said. His voice was very gentle, but everyone could hear the cold, killing intent in it. Mo Lang, the second prince of the Golden Crow, and the others trembled. This man was the peerless genius of the Feng clan, Feng Wuxian. He was a top figure who had reached the absolute saint realm a long time ago. Even in the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy, which was full of geniuses, he was a very famous existence. Chapter 1876, Chapter 1876, Chapter 1876, Killing. Chapter 1876, Chapter 1876 Killing Young Master Wuchen. It's all because of Lu Ming. He's too audacious. Otherwise, we would have taken down Huang Ling, Long Chen and the rest. Mo Lang said respectfully. Oh, I've heard of that Lu Ming. He stirred up a storm in Ancient Moon's sanctuary a while ago. Unfortunately, the Wind Clan had not yet emerged at that time. Otherwise, we would have suppressed him long ago. Feng Wuchen sneered and said, Young Master Wuchen, we've also mentioned your name, but Lu Ming didn't give us any face at all. He even said that if you're not convinced, you can look for him directly. The Golden Crow's second prince chimed in. Arrogant and ignorant, you're really looking for death. Beside Feng Wuchen, another green-robed young man said coldly. This man was also a heaven's favorite of the Wind Clan, but he was not as strong as Feng Wuchen. You're asking me to find him? Hee, alright, I'll go find him then. From now on, those people don't need to stay in the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy anymore. Feng Wuchen said indifferently. With his hands behind his back, he took a step forward and walked out. The other geniuses of the Wind Race, as well as Ink Wolf and the Golden Crow's second prince, followed him. On the mountain peak where Lu Ming and the rest lived, there was an open space. Two figures were fighting fiercely, erupting terrifying fluctuations. These two were Long Chen and Desolate. After 2 months of cultivation, Long Chen's cultivation had finally entered the Great Saint Perfection. The moment he entered the Great Saint Perfection, Desolate power found him. The two of them had nothing to say and immediately engaged in an intense battle. The battle between the two was very similar. It was direct, brutal, and overbearing. It was like two ancient beasts fighting. The trumpeting of elephants could be heard. Long Chen's arms expanded several times as he circulated his nomological laws to the extreme. He punched out continuously with both fists. With every punch, a giant elephant rose into the air and crushed toward Desolately. Desolate's muscles bulged as a wild light shone in his eyes. He roared and continued to punch out. Each punch would destroy a giant elephant. The two of them exchanged hundreds of moves before they retreated to the sides. They stared at each other like two wild beasts. Ah, awesome, this is awesome. How about we fight another day? Desolate suddenly laughed. That's exactly what one want. Let's have a great battle another day. Long Chen's fighting spirit was not weak at all. They looked at each other, feeling a sense of appreciation for each other, and a sense of regret that they had not met each other. And NBSP, the two of them controlled the same laws and fought each other. This would greatly benefit each other and allow them to find their own weaknesses. Although he could also condense a figure with the same laws as himself after entering the Purgatory Valley, it was condensed by a grand array after all. There was still a huge gap between it and a true genius or a real person. Real people had thoughts and could understand. They could see through weaknesses and fight against each other. The effect would naturally be better. The two of them stopped fighting and sat down cross-legged to absorb the Ori rocks to recover their true Yuan. Not long after, the two of them opened their eyes at the same time and looked in the same direction. In that direction, a terrifying tornado with destructive power swept toward the mountain they lived on. Who is it? Block it! Long Chen and Desolately roared at the same time. Their bodies shot into the sky, and they charged towards the tornado. Their fists continued to strike out, and terrifying fist forces were sent towards the tornado. After dozens of punches, the tornado was finally stopped. The expressions of the two of them turned gloomy. The other party was too audacious, directly attacking them in their residence, wanting to destroy the courtyard they were staying in. This was a direct slap to their faces, a humiliation. In the distance, a young man in a green robe was walking in the air with his hands behind his back. He was Feng Wuchen. Too extreme king physique, this is really rare. Feng Wuchen looked at Long Chen and Desolately in shock. Feng Wuchen, Long Chen said with a serious expression. This guy is Feng Wuchen. He's so pretentious. I'll beat him until he cries later. Desolately grinned, his eyes filled with ferocity. At that moment, on the mountain peak, Other figures rose into the air and came behind Huang Li and Long Chen. A few of them were the elites of the desolate race, while the others were elites of the Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and Thunder God Sect. At the same time, the other heavens favorites of the Wind Race, Ink Wolf, the second prince of the Golden Crow, and the others also arrived and stood behind Feng Wuchen. The two sides drew their swords and their powerful auras met in the air. The fluctuations here naturally alerted the paragons of the other peaks. One by one, they stood in the void and watched from afar. It's Feng Wuchen. Feng Wuchen has come out. I knew it. Once Feng Wuchen comes out, he will definitely make a move. He won't let Long Chen and the others go easily. I wonder how they will deal with Feng Wuchen. It seems like there's going to be another intense battle. Many people spoke up, filled with anticipation. Previously, Lu Ming had killed the Golden Crow Crown Prince. How would Feng Wuchen treat Lu Ming and the rest? Feng Wuchen smiled faintly and said, "The two of you are rare talents. Come to me and work for me. I will make you my right and left arms. One will not treat you badly." He still wanted to subdue Desolate Power and Long Chen. If he had the help of the two king physiques, he would definitely be able to have a place in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Help you? Take a piss and look at yourself. Who do you think you are? Desolate Li immediately cursed. He only knows how to suppress us with his cultivation level. He even wants us to join him. What a joke. Long Chen also sneered. They were all king physiques, so how could they rely on Feng Wuchen? Did Feng Wuchen have the right? Feng Wuchen's cultivation was only slightly higher now. Once they had a breakthrough, their cultivation would catch up to Feng Wuchen's and they would have no fear of him at all. Stubborn. Then I'd like to see what capital you have to clamor in front of me. Feng Wuchen's face darkened. He took a step forward and a gust of wind howled between heaven and earth. Endless destructive wind appeared out of thin air and wreaked havoc in the world. Each gust of wind was like a terrifying destructive divine weapon. It cut through the space, leaving a hideous mark in the space. Feng Wuchen was also a king body. He controlled the laws of the wind of destruction and was a lower-tier absolute saint. Although his cultivation level was the same as the Golden Crow Crown Prince, his battle power was much stronger. Long Chen and Huang Li's eyes turned serious. The saint energy in their bodies circulated crazily, and they used their full strength to unleash their laws. They were like two wild beasts that were lying dormant, ready to unleash a shocking attack at any moment. Exterminate! At this moment, Feng Wuchen pressed down with a single hand, and a terrifying destructive wind swept toward Long Chen and Desolate. Boom! Boom! Long Chen and Desolate Li attacked at the same time. They punched continuously, causing the sky to shake. The air was completely compressed together, forming a terrifying force that shot towards the destructive wind. Explosions continued to occur in the sky. Long Chen and Desolate Li's bodies trembled as they were forced back. You can block one of my attacks. Not bad. Continue. Feng Wuchen's body was wrapped in the wind as he continued to walk. With every step, the wind became more violent and swept through the sky. The clouds in the sky had long been swept away by the wind. Two terrifying tornadoes flew towards Desolate Li and Long Chen. Chapter 1877, Chapter 1877, Chapter 1877, Intense Confrontation. Chapter 1877, Chapter 1877 Intense Confrontation, Extreme God Statue Fist. An elephant's cry resounded through the sky. Dragon Star's saint power was boiling. He punched out, and a huge Archean dragon-esque elephant appeared. It roared at the sky and rushed forward. Extreme Star Fist. Desolate Li punched out as well. A star appeared on his fist, as if he was pushing the star towards the tornado. The two's fist force was filled with boundless power. They used their power to break through all techniques in the heavens. The giant elephant and the star collided with the two tornadoes, causing a deafening boom. In the end, the two tornadoes were blocked and dissipated in the sky. Feng Wuchen's face turned gloomy after two of his moves were blocked. He was in the absolute saint realm. It would be embarrassing if he could not take down two great saints so easily. Storm blade of destruction, die. Feng Wuchen shouted. Countless blades appeared around him. They were extremely sharp and had destructive power. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Destructive storm blades shot towards Long Chen and Desolate Li. Long Chen and Desolate tried their best to resist, but their cultivation was too weak. They were in a precarious situation. Then, leave these people to us. The paragons of the wind race had their eyes on Phoenix Palace. The other members of the Divine Elephant sect stepped toward them. Mo Lang, the second prince of the Golden Crow, and the others followed and launched a terrifying attack. Send out the news, gather our men, and then defend with all our strength. One of the Phoenix Palace's paragons shouted, and everyone sent out the news through voice transmission jade talismans one after another. Then, they went into a defensive stance. Some of them were still cultivating in some places in the Sacred Institute. They were few in number and could only defend. A few youths from the Desolate race took a step forward and stood at the front of the crowd. They swung their huge battle axes and maces, sending a few elites flying. They're so strong. How many of them have upper-class heavenly spiritual bodies? These people are burly and different from ordinary people. What are their origins? Mo Lang exchanged a blow with a Desolate race youth, and his body was sent flying. His body was numb, and there was a sharp pain in his arm, as if his bones had almost been shattered. It might be one of the ancient race, the Desolate race. A genius of the wind race said. As an ancient race, they naturally knew of the Desolate race. Ancient race. Mo Lang and the others took a deep breath. The ancient race had been passed down since ancient times. They had terrifying secret techniques and their foundations were unfathomable. No ancient race could be underestimated. Leave these few Desolate race members to us. You guys deal with the rest. The wind race's paragon said. A terrifying wind surrounded his body as he charged towards the Desolate race youth. Mo Lang and the others attacked the others. Although killing wasn't allowed in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, it was fine as long as they weren't crippled or killed. They were going to beat the stubborn people of Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant sect half to death and then throw them out of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. The Desolate race, Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant sect, Thunder God sect, and other sects had fewer people. They were at a complete disadvantage with some already injured. As for Long Chen and Desolate Li, they were not in a good state either. They were also at a disadvantage and were forced to retreat. If not for the fact that both of them cultivated extreme laws and their spiritual bodies were also known for their strength, which meant that their defenses were also extremely strong, they would have already been defeated. But even so, it couldn't hold on for too long. Seeing that they were in a precarious situation, a figure flew over from the distance. Before he even arrived, a cold and hot aura burst out. The two curved blades rotated at an extreme speed, forming a terrible destructive force that pressed toward Feng Wuchen. Qiu Yu had arrived. The law of yin and yang. Feng Wuchen's eyes narrowed. He waved his hand and a destructive storm blade slashed towards Qiu Yu. It collided with Qiu Yu's two curved blades and sparks flew. Kill! Kill! Long Chen and Desolate Li took this opportunity to attack. They broke through dozens of storm blades, and their fists flew toward Feng Wuchen like rainbows. If you want to counterattack, you're still far from it. Feng Wuchen shouted coldly. He opened his mouth and blew out a gust of wind that shattered Long Chen's and Desolate's fists. Qiu Yu, Long Chen, and Huang Li joined forces to fight Feng Wuchen. The king physique of three great saints in the exceptional realm is really amazing. However, even if the three of them join forces, they might not be able to fight Feng Wuchen. That's right. If there was one more person, I'm afraid we could fight. One wonder if Huang Ling has broken through to the great saint perfection. The crowd in the distance discussed animatedly. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. And at that moment, there were figures flying over from the distance. They were people from Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant sect, and the Desolate race who were cultivating elsewhere. They had received the voice transmission and rushed over. Take 2 hammer strikes from your grandfather. Huang Di waved his two giant hammers and rushed over from the distance. The two giant hammers were like a whirlwind as they smashed toward the second Golden Crow Prince. The shocking pressure from the hammer made the second prince of the Golden Crow turn pale with fright. Summoning the divine sunfire, he resisted with all his might. And NBSP, but when the hammer fell, the Golden Crow second prince screamed as his wings exploded. His body was sent flying and he was severely injured. Although the second prince of the Golden Crow was also in the great circle of the Supreme Saint Realm, his spiritual body was only a medium-grade heaven spiritual body. He was no match for the desolate land and was severely injured in one move. With the desolate race, Phoenix Palace, and the other sect elites rushing back, they finally stabilized the situation. However, they were still at a disadvantage. After all, the other party had the paragons of the wind race. In addition, there were the paragons of the Skywolf Tower, Yuan family, Golden Crow clan, and so on. There were at least a dozen sects from the ancient Moon Holy Land who had joined the wind race. With so many paragons gathered together, there were simply too many people. The desolate race, Phoenix Palace, and other sects could only defend and could not launch a counterattack. And as time passed, more and more people were injured. At this moment, the cry of a phoenix resounded through the sky. A flaming phoenix flew over at top speed and enveloped the Sky Wolf Tower, the Golden Crow race, and a large number of heaven's favorites. It's the unperishable flame. Someone exclaimed. Bang, bang. The flaming phoenix screeched and the law of the undying fire was activated. One by one, the young geniuses were sent flying and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Some of the weaker ones were directly injured and no longer had the strength to fight. It's Huang Ling, damn it, she has also broken through to the great saint perfection. Mo Lang roared. In the next moment, an undying flame shot towards Mo Lang, sending him flying and spitting out blood. Huang Ling had broken through to the great saint perfection. She was almost invincible among those of the same level. Even though the wind race had a few heaven's favorites with upper-class heavenly spiritual bodies, they were no match for her. They were suppressed by the Phoenix Spirit and were injured by the Phoenix Spirit, greatly reducing their combat strength. With the addition of Huang Ling, they immediately stabilized the situation and gained the upper hand. Feng Ling, go and help Long Chen and the others. We can hold them off here. Mu Qingxue called out. Huang Ling had injured a few of the enemy's strongest elites, and the enemy's combat strength was greatly reduced. As for them, they had the cooperation of the desolate race's experts, so they had no problem protecting themselves. All right, be careful, let's go. Huang Ling said. The phoenix formed by the unperishable flame let out a cry and rushed toward Feng Wuchen. Chapter 1870, Chapter 1878, The Battle of the Five Kings. Chapter 1878, The Battle of the Five Kings. Huang Ling had the undying celestial phoenix body and she controlled the law of the undying fire. Her life force was extremely strong. She almost turned into the undying fire and rushed toward Feng Wuchen. She was not afraid of the wind of destruction and blocked it. Qiu Yu, Long Chen, and Desolate Li seized the opportunity to attack. In an instant, Feng Wuchen was forced back a few thousand meters. Don't think that you'll be useful just because you have more people. Feng Wuchen bellowed as his entire body turned transparent, as if he was about to transform into a gust of wind. The wind between heaven and earth was getting stronger and stronger. Tornadoes formed around Feng Wuchen, and there were also storm blades. The destructive attack swept toward Long Chen and the others. "Oh, block it, you guys, attack. Undying cage. Die." Huang Ling shouted. Endless flames spread out and turned into a huge flame cage, blocking the destructive storm. Long Chen and Huang Li stepped forward and appeared beside Feng Ling to protect her. At the same time, they attacked Feng Wuchen. As for Qiu Yu, she stood behind Feng Ling and the others. She did not care about her own defense and attacked with all her might. Qiu Yu attacked with all her might. Her attacks were terrifying. With the help of the laws of yin and yang, her two curved blades were extremely destructive. She kept attacking Feng Wuchen. The heavens and earth seemed to be on the verge of exploding. The others had to stay far away from their battlefield. The Battle of the Five Kings. 4 great Saint King physiques were fighting against a king physique of initial absolute saint. This was a rare sight. At this moment, more and more people were watching the battle from afar. Even many powerful heaven's favorites who had been in seclusion appeared. Among them, there was a group of people in snow-white robes. They were very eye-catching, especially one of the most beautiful women. She was so beautiful that people kept looking at her. If Ming was here, he would be shocked because the woman was Xian. It's the ancient Saint clan. Who is that woman? It's so beautiful. One heard that he's a terrifying genius from the ancient Saint clan. He's extremely powerful. Many people looked at Xian and his group and discussed among themselves. But very quickly, everyone's attention was focused on the battle ahead. For great Saint King physiques in the Great Circle are really amazing. If they all break through to the absolute saint realm, I'm afraid they will stir up a storm in the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy. This is strange. King physique has always been arrogant and solitary. Why are these 4 king physique gathered together to fight Feng Wuchen? It seems to be because of a person called Ming. Ming, you guys have been in seclusion all this time, so you don't know this. This Ming just joined the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy not long ago, and he's a son of chaos. What? The son of chaos? Some people exclaimed in surprise. They didn't expect that another son of chaos would appear in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. It was no wonder that so many king physiques were gathered together. If it was because of the son of chaos, then it was not surprising. Ming. Xian murmured as a strange light flickered in her eyes. At this moment, Long Chen and the other 3 had teamed up to fight Feng Wuchen and finally turn the tables. However, Feng Wuchen was an absolute saint after all. His cultivation was much higher than theirs, so it was almost impossible for them to win. However, with the 4 of them working together, it would be difficult for Feng Wuchen to win. The battle was very intense, but it was difficult to determine the winner. It's really intense. At this time, a cold and grave laughter sounded out, and 2 young men came over together. It's them, Luo Pokong Kong Lang. Many people's expressions changed drastically when they saw the 2 of them. How did these 2 end up together? Many of them had grave expressions. This was because Luo Pokong and Kong Lang both had king physiques, and it was said that both of them had entered the absolute saint realm not long ago. 2 absolute saint king bodies came together. It's that bitch. Luo Pokong's eyes looked directly at Qiuyu, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Back in the ancient Yang sacred land, he was defeated by Ming because of Qiuyu and lost all his face. Brother Luo, do you know that woman? Kong Lang laughed. My brother Luo Tsangqiong has taken a fancy to that woman, but she is against the Daluo Heaven sect every day. One don't know where she went a while ago. I didn't expect to see her here. They'll take her and send her to my brother. Luo Pokong took a step forward after he finished speaking. There was a penetrating law circulating around his body. His body seemed to be able to penetrate the void. His speed was astonishing, and in an instant he appeared not far from Qiuyu. He stretched out his hand, and his 5 fingers were like 5 long spears, piercing toward Qiuyu. Qiuyu's expression changed. She did not expect that someone would suddenly attack him. Luo Pokong. Qiuyu shouted and could only use all her strength. She retrieved her 2 curved blades and attacked Luo Pokong. But now that Luo Pokong had broken through to the absolute saint realm, his combat strength had soared. He grabbed with his fingers, and Qiuyu's 2 scimitars were sent flying. Qiue, leave these people and go to my brother Luo Tsangqiong. Luo Pokong said coldly. Don't even think about it. One will choose anyone but Luo Tsangqiong. Let him give up. Qiuyu said coldly. Her master had also told her that Luo Tsangqiong had taken away a part of her memory in order to get her. She only felt disgust for Luo Tsangqiong. You don't know how to appreciate my brother's kindness. It's your good fortune that my brother has taken a fancy to you. Luo Pokong's face darkened. He kept pointing his finger, and the terrifying spear light pierced through the void and headed toward Qiuyu. Qiu Yu quickly retreated and used all her strength to resist, but she was still completely at a disadvantage. Oh no, Lady Qiuyue is in danger. I'll go help her. Desolate Li's expression changed. Lu Ming was an external elder of the desolate race. He had done the desolate race a great favor and held a high status. As for Qiu Yu and Lu Ming, they had a good relationship and had gone to the desolate race together. Therefore, Huang Li could not let anything happen to Qiu Yu. His body flashed and he rushed towards Luo Pokong, his fists punching out continuously. You're overestimating yourself. A long spear appeared in Luo Pokong's hand. With a shake of the spear, rays of spear radiance shot out, destroying Huang Li's fist force and forcing him to retreat. On the other side, Qiu Yu seized the opportunity to launch an attack on Luo Pokong. However, Luo Pokong's cultivation base was too strong. With a sweep of his spear, he broke Qiu Yu's attack. Desolate Li seized the opportunity and rushed to Qiu Yu's side. He joined forces with Qiu Yu and fought Luo Pokong. However, Luo Pokong also had a king body, and his cultivation was in the Absolute Saint realm. Although he had just broken through to the Absolute Saint realm not long ago, and his battle strength was slightly weaker than Feng Wuchen's, the difference was not big. Even if Desolate Li and Qiu Yu joined forces, they were no match for him. On the other side, Feng Ling and Long Chen were also at a disadvantage. Because of Luo Pokong's interference, the situation in this battle had taken a huge turn. Feng Ling, Long Chen, and the others are in trouble this time. They're no match for two king bodies in the Absolute Saint realm. That's right. I'm afraid he'll be heavily injured and thrown out of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. He'll lose all his face. Some people sighed. With Luo Pokong's interference, Huang Ling and the others no longer had a chance. Moreover, Kong Lang, who came with Luo Pokong, would he interfere? Chapter 1879, Chapter 1879, Fighting Luo Pokong Again. Chapter 1879, Fighting Luo Pokong Again. In the Divine Ability, Purgatory Valley, Lu Ming had finally broken through the shackles after a period of cultivation. He had broken through Aro the Great Saint Perfection, and his aura had skyrocketed. Around him, pieces of raw gemstones exploded and turned into rolling original chi, which surged into Lu Ming's body and turned into saint energy. There were 2 saint hearts in Lu Ming's body. Now that he had reached the perfected Supreme Saint realm, his saint power was extremely strong. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming's aura was restrained. I've gained a lot from this cultivation. I've made a breakthrough in my cultivation and reached the Great Sage Perfection. I've also mastered 80% of the Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger. It's time to go out. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. Last time, he had killed the Golden Crow Crown Prince. If the Wind Race came out of seclusion, he didn't know if they would take revenge. Although killing was forbidden in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, as long as one didn't step onto the life and death battle stage, they would be fine. However, Lu Ming was still worried. Lu Ming strode towards the exit of the Purgatory Valley. He was very fast and there were no obstacles. In a short while, Lu Ming had left the Divine Ability, Purgatory Valley. It seems like Bubbles is still cultivating. Lu Ming smiled faintly, then his expression changed. The moment he came out, he seemed to have received a message from a jade talisman. Lu Ming took out the jade voice transmission talisman and scanned it with his spiritual senses. His expression changed abruptly. It was the news from the Phoenix Palace. Huang Ling and the others were in danger. In fact, some of the paragons of the Divine Elephant sect in the Phoenix Palace had been sending him messages continuously. Previously, he had been in the Purgatory Valley and could not send messages in at all. However, they did not give up and continued to send messages. Now that Lu Ming had come out of seclusion, they naturally received the news. The Wind Race and Luo Pokong. A sharp glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Then he circulated his saint energy and his figure was like a ray of light, cutting through the void. At this moment, be it Qiu Yu, Desolate Power, Huang Ling, or Long Chen, all of them were in danger. The 4 of them were no match for Feng Wuchen and Luo Pokong even when they joined forces. The long spear in Luo Pokong's hand burst out. It turned into rays of spear radiance and pierced towards the vital points of Qiuyu and desolate power. Each of the spear's radiances contained the power of the law of penetration. They could penetrate everything, even other laws. At this moment, 2 parts of Desolate Li's body had already been pierced by the spear radiance. The front and back of his body were completely penetrated and blood was flowing out. If not for the special constitution of the Desolate race, making them extremely strong and resilient, they would not have been able to continue fighting. However, he still stood in front of Qiuyu. The 2 of them used all their strength to fight Luo Pokong. Desolate power barely dodged one of RG's spear radiances, or else he would have been pierced through. At this moment, Feng Ling and Long Chen were not in a much better state. Even with Feng Ling's terrifying vitality, her face was pale. "Where's Lu Ming? Where's he hiding? Let him come out and fight me." Luo Pokong shouted coldly. He had lost face when he was defeated by Lu Ming last time. Now that he had broken through to the Saint Realm, he must humiliate Lu Ming. If Lu Ming makes a move, I'm afraid you won't be able to handle it. Desolately grinned. Lu Ming defeated this person previously. Qiuyu said, so that's how it is. It turns out that you're Lu Ming's defeated opponent. You still have the face to come here? Desolately laughed. Shut up. If Lu Ming dares to show up, I'll make him kneel in front of me and beg for mercy. It's a pity that he's like a tortoise hiding in its shell now. He doesn't dare to show himself. Luo Pokong sneered. Are you looking for me? Suddenly, a cold voice came from the distance. Then, a beam of light flew over from the distance at an astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, it arrived at this place. This rainbow light did not stop at all. It rushed directly towards Luo Pokong. Huge prison-suppressing steels appeared one after another and pressed down on Luo Pokong. Lu Ming! Luo Pokong let out an angry roar and thrust his long spear at the illusionary steel. The illusionary steel exploded, and Luo Pokong's body trembled and he took a few steps back. Buzz. The light faded and Lu Ming's figure appeared. It's Lu Ming! The hearts of Huang Ling and the others moved, and they revealed happy expressions. Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and the Desolate race were also delighted. They did not know why, but as long as they saw Lu Ming, they would feel at ease. It was as if Lu Ming had the ability to turn the tide. Lu Ming, long time no see. I wonder if you can turn the tide in this situation? In the distance, Xian Yanjuan muttered among the ancient Saint clan members, this person is the son of chaos? Those who had never seen Lu Ming before could not help but whisper, their faces filled with curiosity and anticipation. Would the son of chaos appearance change the outcome of the war? Qiuyu, Huang Li, go and help Huang Ling and RG rest. Leave this person to me, Lu Ming said. All right. Without any hesitation, Qiuyu and Desolate charged at Feng Wuchen. With the help of Qiuyu and Desolate, the situation was finally stabilized. Lu Ming, you've come at the right time. Today, I'll trample you under my feet and let you suffer all kinds of humiliation. Luo Pokong looked at Lu Ming, his eyes glimmering with cold killing intent. Now that he had become an absolute saint, his combat strength had increased dramatically. He was 100% confident that he could defeat Lu Ming. He was forced to take a few steps back by Lu Ming earlier because he was in a hurry and did not unleash much of his strength. Loser, since you've already been defeated once, you'll never be my opponent in the future. Lu Ming said coldly, full of confidence and the belief that he would not lose. This time, you're the one who's defeated. Luo Pokong's long spear trembled and hundreds of spear lights appeared, stabbing toward Lu Ming. Smale tricks. Lu Ming cast the prison-suppressing heavenly art and punched continuously. Tall prison-suppressing steels appeared one after another, suppressing everything. Bang, bang, bang. The spear radiance exploded and was suppressed by the prison-suppressing steel, turning into energy and dissipating. Lu Ming stepped forward and broke through the sniping of the spear radiance, blasting it toward Luo Pokong. Luo Pokong's face darkened. His long spear buzzed and pierced toward Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. Clang. A huge prison-suppressing steel appeared and clashed with the long spear. Thump. The phantom image of the prison-suppressing steel exploded and the long spear trembled continuously. Lu Ming and Luo Pokong's bodies trembled at the same time and they retreated a few steps. The hearts of many of the spectators in the distance trembled. He's so strong, like can resist an absolute Saint King body alone. Someone asked in shock. Lu Ming's cultivation base was revealed as soon as he made his move. He was a perfected great saint. For example, Feng Ling and the others only managed to resist Feng Wuxian after the 4 king bodies joined forces. However, Lu Ming alone could fight with Luo Pokong. As expected of the Son of Chaos. His combat strength is truly terrifying. Someone sighed. Luo Pokong's face also darkened, and the killing intent in his eyes grew stronger. Kill! The long spear was like a bolt of lightning, piercing towards Lu Ming. The power of the penetrating law was shocking. Lu Ming was not afraid at all. He took a step forward and continued to bombard with his prison-suppressing heavenly art. In the blink of an eye, the two of them exchanged dozens of moves, and neither of them had a clear winner. Chapter 1880, Chapter 1880, Chapter 1880, Kings Gather. Chapter 1880, Chapter 1880 Kings Gather. This is all he can do after breaking through to the absolute saint realm. How disappointing! Lu Ming spoke with a mocking tone. Die, destructive strike. Luo Pokong shouted loudly and burst out with his magical technique, displaying his strongest attack. Chaos Finger! Lu Ming pointed his finger and the chaotic finger of tribulation burst forth, clashing with the opponent's long spear. Buzz! The long spear shook violently as if it was under extreme pressure. Luo Pokong's body shook violently as he retreated continuously. Luo Pokong's divine art was about 85% mature, and it was a king path law, so its power was already very shocking. On the other hand, Lu Ming's magical power technique was at 80% maturity, but it was a law of chaos. Its power was equivalent to 90% of the law of kings, which was still superior to Luo Pokong's. Your strongest attack is only SOSO, suppress. Lu Ming's finger pointed out continuously. The energy between heaven and earth gathered towards his finger in a frenzy. A few huge fingers formed in succession and pointed at Luo Pokong. Extreme penetration. Luo Pokong shouted loudly. His body seemed to bow and then shoot out, erupting with astonishing power. With the support of the saint energy of the absolute saint stage, his long spear's penetrative power became even more shocking as he clashed with Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. After a few explosions, Luo Pokong's figure retreated again. Luo Pokong retreated while Lu Ming advanced. The fingers of his right hand were constantly pointing out to cast the chaotic finger of tribulation. On his left hand, the law of formation was operating. Endless runes spread out and formed a sealing force that covered Luo Pokong. Luo Pokong retreated continuously, not daring to let the sealing power stick to him. Luo Pokong is no match, he's at a disadvantage. Lu Ming's abilities are so terrifying. The other heaven's favorites were all shocked. Previously, it was already very shocking that Lu Ming could resist Luo Pokong. Now, Lu Ming was actually suppressing Luo Pokong. Luo Pokong, didn't you want to trample me under your feet today? Why are you retreating? Lu Ming spoke sarcastically, but his attacks did not stop. Instead, they became even more violent. And NBSP, he used the primal chaos tribulation finger in his right hand to constantly point out the primal chaos laws. The law of the array Dao in his left hand was suffused with endless runes, forming a sealing power that was about to seal Luo Pokong. Although Luo Pokong's penetrative power was strong, he was suppressed by the finger of tribulation of primal chaos. He could only retreat continuously and was completely at a disadvantage. Lu Ming. Luo Pokong hated Lu Ming to the core. Previously, in the only sacred flail in the ancient Sun Sanctuary, he was no match for Lu Ming's great sage accomplished cultivation with his great sage perfected cultivation. He was defeated by Lu Ming in public and was humiliated. Now that he had entered the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy and broken through to the absolute saint realm, he was ambitious and wanted to compete with the heroes of the world. He even wanted to completely trample Lu Ming under his feet. However, after meeting Lu Ming, he was still no match for him and was suppressed. He felt a lump in his chest, and it was extremely uncomfortable. Buzz. Buzz. Lu Ming's right finger pointed at the void continuously. Then, in the sky, an incomparably huge finger formed, as if a god had come from an eternal unknown place. A finger stretched out and pressed down on Luo Pokong. The scene was extremely shocking. Luo Pokong thrust his spear with all his might. A shocking spear light soared into the sky, trying to pierce through this finger. However, the result was that the spear light exploded and Luo Pokong was blasted down from the sky, falling to the ground. Boom! Luo Pokong landed on the ground. The ground exploded, and a huge pit was created. Although he managed to stabilize his body, his face was pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. I've said it before. If I can defeat you once, I can defeat you a second time. You will never be my opponent. When you are defeated by me, you are no longer worthy of being my opponent. Lu Ming stepped forward and looked down at Luo Pokong from above. Luo Pokong's face turned from pale to ashen. His eyes were full of anger and killing intent. You only have the upper hand for a moment, yet you dare to say that Brother Luo is not worthy of being your opponent. How arrogant. Brother Luo, let me give you a hand. Not far away, Kong Lang coldly spoke. He then stepped forward, and endless waves appeared around him. Kong Lang wanted to join forces with Luo Pokong to deal with Lu Ming. Alright, let's join forces and severely injure this brat. After that, we will bring him out of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy and cripple him. Want him to live like a dog for the rest of his life. Luo Pokong said. His voice was extremely cold and filled with endless killing intent. He had been defeated by Lu Ming time and time again, and there was an inner demon in his heart. The air wave treaded on the waves and headed toward Lu Ming. As expected, Kong Lang is going to make his move. Many people were moved. Kong Lang and Luo Pokong had come together. As expected, their relationship was not shallow. At this moment, although Lu Ming's combat strength was strong, he was definitely not a match for Luo Pokong and Kong Lang's joint forces. It seemed that Lu Ming's side would eventually lose this battle. Many people sighed. Lu Ming's cultivation was too weak. If one of them had reached the absolute saint realm, they would not have been in such a passive position. Two king physiques of the absolute saint realm joining forces to fight a great saint. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? At this moment, a clear and melodious voice was heard. It was very pleasant to the ears and would not be forgotten after hearing it once. Who is it? Kong Lang shouted as he looked around. In the distance, a graceful figure stepped through the air. It's Luo Tianyi. Someone cried out in alarm as he recognized the person. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Luo Tianyi was here. Luo Tianyi slowly walked over to Kong Lang and said, "If you want to fight, then I'll fight with you." Luo Tianyi, you're only ranked 36th on the Saint King ranking. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you. It won't be too late to fight Lu Ming after I defeat you. Kong Lang snorted coldly and stepped toward Luo Tianyi. Under his feet, a huge wave rose to the sky, as if it was going to annihilate everything. At this moment, Luo Tianyi's eyes turned dark, as if they had turned into two abysses. Kong Lang's body suddenly stopped. The waves under his feet churned and his body started to tremble. Illusion, break. Kong Lang roared and waved his hands. In an instant, huge waves surged up and destroyed the world, as if to break Luo Tianyi's illusion. However, when all the waves rushed toward Luo Tianyi, they automatically separated, as if they were deliberately avoiding Luo Tianyi. A moment later, Kong Lang's body trembled, and his face flushed red as he spat out a mouthful of blood. At this time, Luo Tianyi's eyes returned to normal and she said indifferently, "You're not my match." You? Kong Lang was shocked. They had only fought for a short while, but he was already injured. He could not break Luo Tianyi's sky illusion law at all. Luo Tianyi gave him an unfathomable feeling. Luo Tianyi is so powerful. The current Saint King ranking is not that accurate. It can't be taken seriously. Luo Tianyi is too low-key. Although she's ranked 36th on the Saint King list, her strength is probably enough to rank in the top 20. Many people were shocked by Luo Tianyi's strength. In the battle just now, Luo Tianyi had made Kong Lang spit blood without even moving his hand. Such strength was simply strange and unpredictable. Chapter 1881. Chapter 1881. Chapter 1881. Desolate power breaks through to absolute saint. Chapter 1881. Chapter 1881. Desolate power breaks through to absolute saint. Even if they had the same king body and cultivation realm, there would be strong and weak ones. The strength of a person's battle consciousness, magical ability, and usage of laws all determined the strength of a person's battle power. Moreover, even though they were all king path laws, there were stronger and weaker ones. Some king path laws were extremely terrifying in power, surpassing other king path laws. For example, Luo Tianyi's sky illusion law could make people fall into an endless illusion without moving. There was also Luo Kank Iong's law of deprivation, which was said to be able to deprive everything and was even more overbearing. Luo Pokong, let us go! Kong Lang shouted. He didn't dare to continue fighting, and his figure flickered into the distance. Luo Pokong revealed a trace of unwillingness. Il's body moved and also headed into the distance. Lu Ming did not give chase. Although his strength was stronger than Luo Pokong's, there was a limit to it. If Luo Pokong was determined to leave, with his terrifying speed of penetrating laws, he would not be able to stop him. Retreat! Seeing Luo Pokong and Kong Lang retreat, Feng Wuchen didn't dare to continue fighting. He roared and turned into a gust of wind, fleeing into the distance and disappearing without a trace. The others also abandoned their opponents and fled frantically. Damn it, at least this kid escaped quickly. Next time, I'll definitely destroy him. Desolately cursed. He was very unhappy. He was an invincible existence among the younger generation of the desolate race. This was the first time he had been beaten so badly in a battle with someone of the same generation. Luo Tianyi, thank you. Lu Ming walked toward Luo Tianyi and smiled. There's no need to thank me, Luo Tianyi smiled and said, I was in seclusion. I heard that there was a battle here as soon as one came out. I came to take a look. One didn't expect it to be you. It's a pity I'm too late. Not too late, just in time. Lu Ming said with a smile. Lu Ming is also familiar with Luo Tianyi? So many experts have gathered. It's truly shocking. Someone exclaimed. Lu Ming was also familiar with Luo Tianyi. With Luo Tianyi, there were too many geniuses on Lu Ming's side. He already had 5 king's bodies. In addition to his own chaotic body, the power was too shocking. And there are so many beautiful women. I'm so envious. Someone sighed, and many people immediately agreed. Luo Tianyi, Qiu Yu, and Feng Ling were all beautiful women who had stunned the world. Any one of them was one of the top beauties in the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. However, the 3 of them were familiar with Lu Ming. How could he not be envious? This kid is such a womanizer. I wonder how my sister is doing. With her arrogant temper, would she be able to endure it? I'm really looking forward to it. Xian Yanjuan chuckled. Many people turned to look at Xian Yanjuan. Could it be that this proud daughter of heaven from our ancient Saint clan knew Lu Ming? The battle is over. Let's go. Xian Yanjuan said and turned to leave. The geniuses of the ancient Saint clan followed behind Xian Yanjuan as if she was their leader. After that, some people also turned around and left. Huang Ling, desolate force, you're both injured. Let us heal first. Lu Ming looked at Huang Ling and the rest. All right. Huang Ling, Huang Li, Long Chen, Xiu Yu, and a few other injured people sat in the air, consumed elixirs, and began to heal. Not long after, Huang Ling was the first to finish her healing. She had the undying celestial phoenix body, and her life force was extremely exuberant. She was said to be undying, and no matter how serious her injuries were, she could recover very quickly. After that, Long Chen and Qiu Yu also ended their healing. Their injuries weren't that serious. Only the desolate power was left. He had taken the desolate power head-on, and his body had been pierced with a few holes. He was severely injured. At this moment, his muscles wriggled and the holes were filled up. Boom. Suddenly, a powerful aura burst out from Desolate Li's body. This is the aura of an absolute saint. Lu Ming's eyes widened and he revealed a look of joy. After a huge battle, desolate power had actually broken through and entered the absolute saint realm. However, this was normal. Desolate power's cultivation had long reached the great saint perfection realm. He was the closest to the absolute saint realm among them. After this period of cultivation and the battle just now, it was not surprising that his potential had been stimulated and he had broken through in one go. Ha! Desolate power has broken through to the absolute saint realm. That's great. The other members of the desolate race were also overjoyed. Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others also looked happy. With a breakthrough in desolate power, their strength would become even stronger in the future. It would not be so easy for Feng Wuchen to deal with them. If Desolate Li broke through to the absolute saint realm, he would still be able to fight Feng Wuchen. Some people were watching from afar, and those who had not left were also shocked. Desolate Li had broken through to the absolute saint realm. An absolute saint with a king body was definitely powerful. Coupled with Lu Ming's terrifying combat strength, Lu Ming and his group would become a force that could not be underestimated in the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy. During this period of time, many people in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy are breaking through. After a period of time, I'm afraid there will be an even more exciting clash in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. That's right. In fact, there are many king physiques whose cultivation hasn't reached the saint realm yet. When these people all enter the saint realm, the collision will be even more intense. That will be a true great era. There's still the strongest group of people who have been cultivating in the Holy Ji battlefield. When they break out of seclusion, they'll probably be even stronger. We have to work hard too. Otherwise, we'll become stepping stones for others in this great era. Some of the geniuses were discussing. They felt pressured, but they were also filled with anticipation. Everyone wanted to burst out with brilliant sparks in this brilliant great era and be remembered by everyone. I Lu Hu Hu. In the heavens and earth, endless origin energy gathered towards the desolate power. Give him a hand. Lu Ming waved his hand, and a large number of raw gemstones exploded, turning into rolling raw energy that surged towards the desolate power. Long Chen and the rest also took out large piles of raw gemstones and exploded them. As the vast amount of origin chi was absorbed by the desolate power, his aura became stronger and stronger. Rolling saint power shot into the sky like smoke. After a few hours, the aura of the desolate power was retracted, and he opened his eyes. Ah, Longchen, you'd better hurry up and cultivate. Otherwise, I won't have any opponents. Desolate Li laughed out loud and then looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, when are you going to have a big fight with me? I'm not free. Lu Ming rejected him directly. He would not have a good life if he was entangled with this battle maniac. Desolate Li touched his head helplessly, causing many people to laugh. Let us go back. Luo Tianyi, do you want to go together? Lu Ming looked at Luo Tianyi. All right. Luo Tianyi nodded with a smile. She was extremely charming, causing the young men from the Divine Elephant Sect, Phoenix Palace, and the Desolate Race to stare at her. Other than Feng Ling and Long Chen, the others were all very curious. Luo Tianyi, the holy successor of the Jade Lake Divine Palace, was a peerless beauty. She actually helped Lu Ming and seemed to be very familiar with him. She even listened to him. This made many people's imagination run wild. Qiu Yu blinked her eyes. She looked at Lu Ming and then at Luo Tianyi. No one knew what she was thinking. Soon, the group returned to their residence and gathered in a spacious courtyard. Chapter 1882, Chapter 1882, The Celestial Emperor's Sword. Chapter 1882, The Celestial Emperor's Sword. Everyone, do you have any news about the Grand Lunar Treasure Lotus? Or, Help me keep an eye out for news in this area. After chatting for a while, Ming asked. Right now, he was lacking the materials to make the soul recovery pill. However, this kind of spiritual item was extremely rare. It would be difficult for him to find it by himself. If he asked everyone for help, he would have a better chance. The Taiyi treasure lotus? Some of them were at a loss. It was obvious that they had never even heard of it. The rest of the people who had heard of it also had a thoughtful expression. The astral treasure lotus is extremely rare. It's said to be extremely spiritual. It'll be difficult to find it in a short time, but one know a place that might have news of the astral treasure lotus. Luo Tianyi thought for a moment and said, "What place?" Ming was overjoyed. For generations, many geniuses had joined the Jade Lake Divine Palace, so it was normal for Luo Tianyi to know a lot of information that ordinary people didn't. Vientiane Tower. Luo Tianyi explained, Vientiane Tower is specialized in collecting all kinds of information. Whether it's from the north or the south, big or small, they will collect information from all over the Yuan continent. They have people all over the world. As long as you spend money, you can buy any information. There's such a place? Where can I find the Vientiane Tower? Ming was overjoyed. If that was the case, he could go to Vientiane Tower and ask around. He might be able to gain something. There's a branch of Vientiane Tower in Heavenly Emperor City. 111 give you the specific address. Luo Tianyi took out a jade card and carved the map on it with her spiritual sense. She handed it to Ming. Everyone chatted for a while more before leaving. The next day, Ming and Yu left the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy together and headed towards Vientiane Tower. The Heavenly Emperor City was extremely vast and boundless. The Vientiane Tower was located to the north of the Heavenly Emperor City. And NBSP, the two of them continued to fly, and not long after, they discovered a place that was extremely lively. Many people had gathered around, as if they were watching a good show. Shall we go down and take a look? Yu blinked her eyes and revealed a curious expression. All right, let's go and take a look. Ming nodded. The two of them landed and discovered an ancient platform. The platform was surrounded by people of all ages. On the ancient platform, there was a sword stuck in the ground all the way to the hilt. A middle-aged man grabbed the hilt and used all his strength to push it out, but the sword didn't move at all. This old man, what's going on? Ming greeted an elder and inquired about the situation. Little brother, this must be your first time in Heavenly Emperor City. Let me tell you, this sword is the sword of the Heavenly Emperor. The old man said proudly. What? The Celestial Emperor's sword. Is that true? Ming was greatly shocked. The sword on the platform was actually the Celestial Emperor's sword. How could it have been left behind until now? I don't know if it's true, but it's just a legend. It's said that this platform was built by the Celestial Emperor, and this sword was also inserted here by the Celestial Emperor. It's 9 feet long, but no one has been able to pull it out for countless years. The old man explained. No one can pull it out, not even martial sovereigns? Ming was even more curious. Yu also looked at the old man with a curious expression. No, it has nothing to do with one's cultivation. Many martial sovereigns can't even pull it out by a foot, but those with low cultivation might be able to pull it out a little. There was once a young man who had just started cultivating who could pull it out by 5 feet. The old man explained. Throughout the ages, the record for the most uprooting was 8 feet. Among this generation of young people, there was one who managed to uproot 8 feet. He was the descendant of the Heavenly Emperor, the peerless genius, Heng Xinghe, who had the bloodline of the Heavenly Emperor. And I heard that the Star River has spread the word that he will pull out this Celestial Emperor's sword sooner or later and make it his personal sword. A middle-aged man interjected. Ming roughly understood what was going on. At this moment, the burly man on the platform was almost exhausted. In the end, he couldn't even pull it out by a foot. He retreated from the platform with a red face. There are people who come here every day to try. Many of them were very confident in the beginning and thought that they could pull out the Celestial Emperor's sword. But in the end, they were all disappointed. The old man shook his head. That's just wishful thinking. How can the Celestial Emperor's sword be pulled out so easily? For countless years, no matter how many heaven's favorites have been born, no one has been able to pull it out. It is said that once you pull it out, you may obtain the inheritance of the celestial emperor. The middle-aged man sneered. That's just a legend, it can't be taken for real. The old man shook his head. At this moment, another person stepped onto the platform and began to draw his sword. Buzz. Suddenly, the sound of a sword rang out, shaking the sky. The hilt of the sword emitted a bright light. The sword was pulled out by a foot. However, 1 foot was the limit. No matter how much strength that person used, he could only pull it out by 1 foot. After a while, the man failed and retreated from the platform. The sword returned to the platform, leaving only the hilt. It's really amazing. Ming was secretly amazed. Even a martial emperor powerhouse could not pull out this sword. It was a miracle. Martial emperor powerhouses were extremely powerful when they were enraged, yet they could not even pull out the sword. If one wanted to pull out this sword, it had nothing to do with one's cultivation level. It depended on the person. This sword is mine. At this moment, a young man stepped onto the platform. This person's expression was cold and arrogant, and he was filled with great confidence. How presumptuous! This sword can't even be pulled out of the eternal star river, and this person is saying that it's his. Many people were very confident before they went up, but they failed very quickly. I've seen many people like this. Some people were discussing with disdain. The young man snorted and stepped to the hilt of the sword. He held the sword with both hands, exhaled, and pulled it up with force. Buzz! The sound of the sword shook the sky. The celestial emperor's sword was pulled out by a foot. Rise again! The young man shouted, and his power exploded. The sound of the sword rang out again, and the sword emitted rays of multicolored light. 3 feet. He actually pulled out 3 feet. Someone exclaimed. In that instant, the young man had pulled out another 2 feet, making it a total of 3 feet. This person's talent is shocking, but he can only pull it out by 3 feet. 3 feet is his limit. Someone else said, "Rise again, you're courting death." The young man shouted again, and a terrifying power of laws erupted from his body. That is, the laws of the king path. This person has a king body. Exclamations of shock rang out. Buzz! Buzz! With 2 sword hums, the sword was pulled out another 2 feet, reaching 5 feet. Initial absolute saint cultivation. This person should be a top genius of the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy. Ming's heart skipped a beat. However, he had not seen this person before. The young man pulled the celestial emperor's sword 5 feet out and stopped there as if he had reached his limit. The young man's cultivation was pushed to the extreme, and his body was drowned in endless multicolored light. Chapter 1883, Chapter 1883, Chapter 1883, Record broken. Chapter 1883, Chapter 1883 record broken. After a moment, the young man shouted again. Buzz! With another sword cry, the celestial emperor's sword was pulled out another foot, reaching 6 feet. This sword looks like a stone sword. Ming studied it carefully and realized that the sword seemed to be made of stone. It was as if it was made of a strange stone. 6 feet. This person is so powerful. A normal king's body can only pull it out 5 feet, but this person can pull it out 6 feet. He's extraordinary. However, 6 feet is his limit. There have been records since ancient times that an ordinary king's body can pull it out 5 feet, and some particularly terrifying king's bodies can pull it out 6 feet. The Son of Heaven can pull it out 7 feet, and the highest record is 8 feet, but it's very rare even since ancient times. Indeed. Many people were discussing. As for the young man, after he pulled out 6 feet, he had indeed reached his limit. After a few consecutive bursts, the sword did not move at all. In the end, the young man had no choice but to give up and retreat. The sword returned to the platform. Interesting. Chuyue, do you want to try? Ming asked. I'll try. Chiyu smiled. She was also eager to try. Ha, little girl, you want to try too? One bet you can pull it out by 3 feet. Uncle has high hopes for you. The middle-aged man laughed. There were many young people who came here every day to draw their swords, but how many of them could pull it out by 3 feet? The middle-aged man was just joking. Qiu smiled and did not say anything. She stepped onto the platform and grabbed the hilt of her sword. Rise! Qiu shouted as her saint energy surged, and she pulled it up. Buzz! 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 With 3 consecutive sword hums, the Celestial Emperor's sword was pulled 3 feet out. The middle-aged man was dumbfounded. He said, "Still? He really pulled it out by 3 feet?" He had only said it casually just now. He had never expected that this little girl would actually be able to pull it out by 3 feet. "Uncle, it's not over yet," Ming said with a smile. "Rise." At this moment, Qiu shouted again, and the laws of yin and yang filled the air. Buzz! 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 The sound of swords clashing rang out continuously, and it rang out 3 times in a row. 6 feet. King's body, another king's body, and an extremely terrifying king's body. Another Heaven's Chosen who pulled out 6 feet has appeared. This woman should be a Heaven's Chosen from the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. Qiu pulled out 6 feet, causing a heated discussion. In the past, it was very rare for someone to pull out 6 feet. On average, it would take many years for one to appear. Today, in such a short time, 2 people had appeared in a row, which was very rare. Of course, when the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy had just opened, it was the liveliest. In one day, more than a dozen Heaven's favorites who could pull out 5 or 6 feet had appeared, which shocked the Heavenly Emperor City. However, Qiu had reached her limit after pulling it out by 6 feet. After a few fruitless attempts, she gave up and returned to Ming's side. "Do you want to try?" Qiu looked at Ming with a curious expression. Ming was the son of chaos. She wanted to see how far he could pull. At the side, the middle-aged man and the old man sized Ming up curiously. Ming and Qiu were walking together. Could it be that they had the same king physique? Could it be that he was also an existence that could pull out 5 or even 6 feet? Then today would be lively. "All right, 111 try." Ming smiled. Since he was here, he might as well give it a try. Ming stepped onto the platform and many people's eyes were on him. There are quite a few young people here today. Indeed. One wonder how far this person can pull out? To be able to come up after 2 king physiques, he's probably not simple. Today is really lively. Some of them sized Ming up curiously and looked forward to it. Could it be that Ming could also pull out 6 feet? Ming walked to the sword hilt and held the sword with both hands. He instantly felt a strange, warm energy surge out from the sword hilt and into his body. Can this energy test a person's cultivation? Ming secretly guessed. This was because those who came here to draw their swords had nothing to do with their cultivation. A martial supreme might not even be able to pull it out by 1 foot, but a person who had just started cultivating could pull it out by 5 feet. Then let's see how far one can pull it out. Ming's eyes narrowed and he pulled hard. Buzz! The sound of a sword rang out, and the long sword was pulled out by a foot. "It's really heavy," Ming mumbled. The saint energy in his body surged, and his 2 saint hearts began to spin rapidly. Endless power poured into Ming's hands and he pulled up again. Buzz! 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 4 sword hums resounded, and the sword shone with brilliant light. 5 feet. In an instant, Ming had pulled it out by 5 feet. He still hasn't used his laws. Someone exclaimed in disbelief. He didn't even use his nomological laws, yet he could pull it out by 5 feet. How is that possible? We didn't see it wrong, right? Everyone was in disbelief. To be able to pull it out by 5 feet without using any laws, this was too shocking. The king physique from before looked at Ming with a brilliant light in his eyes. "It's really heavy, but this is not my limit. Rise." Ming still did not use the law. He relied on the power of the holy power and the spirit body. Buzz! Another sword chime rang out. 6 feet. Ming still did not use the law. The entire place was silent and everyone was staring at Ming. To be able to pull it out by 6 feet without using any laws was simply too shocking. Unbelievable. I wonder what level of nomological law this person's nomological law is at. If it's a powerful king path nomological law, he might be able to pull out another foot and be on par with the Son of Heaven. Someone said, his voice somewhat interfering. The uncle and old man who were chatting with Lu Ming previously were also at a loss for words and were dumbfounded. The gentle-looking young man whom they were chatting with earlier was actually so formidable? To be able to pull it out by 6 feet without using any laws, it seemed that only the galaxy had ever done it, right? Didn't that mean that Lu Ming had already tied the record of the galaxy? Again! Lu Ming's eyes were filled with determination. He felt that he had not reached his limit. He had refined a wisp of chaotic qi in his spiritual body, which made his spiritual body much stronger than an upper-class sky spiritual body. Most importantly, he had 2 saint hearts, which gave him endless potential. Rise! Lu Ming shouted. Other than the laws, all the energy surged into his arms and exploded in an instant. Buzz! Another sword cry resounded through the firmament, and a beam of sword qi shot up into the sky. 7 feet. Lu Ming pulled it out by 7 feet, but he still did not use the power of law. How is that possible? How was this possible? To be able to pull it out by 7 feet without using any laws, this is unprecedented. When the galaxy has not used its laws, it can only be pulled out by 6 feet. Doesn't that mean that Lu Ming has surpassed the galaxy's record? Some people say that the reason why the Star River can pull out 6 feet without using any nomological laws is that he is the descendant of the Celestial Emperor. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to do it. How did this person do it? The scene was out of control, and many people were in disbelief. Chapter 1884. Pulling out the sword and shocking the Emperor's city? Chapter 1884. Pulling out the sword and shocking the Emperor's city. One should know that an ordinary son of heaven could only pull it out by 7 feet. However, Lu Ming was able to pull it out by 7 feet without using any laws. This was too unbelievable. Could it be that he has secretly used a law, but we didn't notice it? Some people couldn't help but guess. It's possible, it's very possible. This guess was agreed by most people. Otherwise, it would be too shocking. But the next moment, everyone shut up. Rise! A voice rang in everyone's ears. The laws of chaos burst out from Lu Ming's body. Buzz! Immediately, there was the sound of a sword. At this moment, the long sword whistled, and a shocking sword qi shot into the sky and into the boundless starry sky. The entire platform was glowing. The endless brilliance almost drowned Lu Ming. The scene fell into a deathly silence. 8 feet. Lu Ming had pulled out 8 feet and even used the law. It proved that Lu Ming had not used the law and he had already pulled out 7 feet. At this moment he used his nomological laws and pulled out an 8-foot-long sword, which was on par with the discipline in history and the discipline of the galaxy. The law of chaos. This person is one of the sons of heaven, the son of chaos. It's too shocking. He pulled it out by 8 feet and tied the record for the galaxy. Can this person completely pull out the Celestial Emperor's sword? As soon as he said that, the entire place fell silent again. Even a pin drop could be heard. Lu Ming was able to pull it out by 7 feet without using the power of law. This was unprecedented in history. Could Lu Ming pull it out by 9 feet after using the law? This was really hard to say. Could it be that the Celestial Emperor's sword that had been stuck here for countless years was about to be born? Many people trembled in their hearts. They were both nervous and expectant. The uncle and uncle who were chatting with Lu Ming earlier were completely stunned. They had never imagined that the young man they were chatting with was a rare peerless genius. 8 feet, 1 more foot. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes were extremely bright. At this moment, he had gathered all the strength in his body into his arms. The muscles in his body were bulging, and he was filled with infinite power. Then he pulled the sword upwards. Buzz! A sword cry resounded through the sky, causing everyone's hearts to beat violently. At this moment, endless sword light pierced through the sky. A shocking sword light stood between the heaven and earth. Everyone in Heavenly Emperor City could see it. On the platform, a young man could be seen holding a sword high in the air. He looked like a legendary god of war. The Celestial Emperor's sword was completely pulled out by Lu Ming and he held it in his hand. At this moment, time seemed to have frozen. Space seemed to have frozen as well. It was as if they had stopped at this moment for eternity. In the center of Heavenly Emperor City, there was a vast palace. At this moment, many figures rushed out of the palace, exuding a powerful and terrifying aura. The Celestial Emperor's sword has appeared. In this world, other than Xing He, there's actually someone who can pull out the Celestial Emperor's sword? Let's go. The Celestial Emperor's sword cannot fall into the hands of outsiders. We must get it back. A series of voices rang out before they stepped into the air and left. On the platform where the Celestial Emperor's sword was, Lu Ming could not help but feel uncomfortable as if a crisis was about to befall him. With a thought, Lu Ming kept the Celestial Emperor's sword into the mountain and river diagram. He then flew down and pulled Qiuyu. Let's go. The two of them turned into two rays of light and left the place in an instant. It was only when Lu Ming and the other man disappeared that everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream and reacted. The Celestial Emperor's sword has been pulled out. The Celestial Emperor's sword that has been here for so many years has actually been pulled out. Who is that young man? He's in control of the laws of chaos. He should be a genius of the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. It's not difficult to find out. Many people were discussing excitedly. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. At this moment, a few figures suddenly appeared in the sky, each of them exuding a terrifying aura that made everyone shiver. Emperor pressure. It's a martial emperor powerhouse. And it's the Hung family's martial emperor. The Hung family claims to have the blood of the Celestial Emperor and are the descendants of the Celestial Emperor. Now that the Celestial Emperor's sword has been pulled out, the Hung family will definitely make a move. The Xingxing River has already announced that the Celestial Emperor's sword will be pulled out by him sooner or later and will become his sword. Many people were discussing in low voices. The Emperor-level powerhouse from the Hung family looked at the empty platform in shock. At the same time, a gloomy expression flashed across his face. The Celestial Emperor's sword had really been pulled out. Who is it? He pulled out the Celestial Emperor's sword? A powerful martial emperor from the Hung family swept his gaze over the crowd, and his powerful emperor aura made it hard for everyone to breathe. I don't know. It was a young man, but he has already left. Someone replied. A young man? Who is it? Which force do you come from? The emperor-level expert from the Heng clan asked. One don't know, but he is the son of chaos and controls the laws of chaos. He should be from the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. Someone said. Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. The emperor-level powerhouse from the Heng clan had a gloomy expression. If he was a heaven's favorite from the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy, then things would be difficult. The Heng family was extremely powerful and claimed to be the descendants of the Heavenly Emperor. They had a deep foundation and unfathomable strength, and they were one of the strongest forces in the Heavenly Emperor City. However, the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy was jointly established by 3 great emperors. They didn't dare to directly head up to the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy to demand for her. That person shouldn't have gone far. Chase after him. It's best to take him down before he returns to the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. The sword of the Celestial Emperor can only belong to our Heng family. Let's go. The leading Heng family martial emperor said. The other martial emperors moved and flew in all directions. At this moment, Lu Ming had changed his appearance. He pulled out the Celestial Emperor's sword and felt a sense of danger. Moreover, the appearance of the Celestial Emperor's sword would certainly alarm many powerful forces, so he made a prompt decision and immediately left with Qiuyu. In a secret place, he sent Qiuyu into the mountain and river diagram, and then he used the divine breath technique to turn into a middle-aged man with sallow skin. With his current cultivation base, even a martial emperor powerhouse would not be able to recognize him so easily. He swaggered down the street and headed in the direction of Vientiane Tower. Not long after, a terrifying expert whistled through the air, emitting a terrifying emperor's might that spread in all directions, causing many people to be shocked. He's indeed here. Which force is this expert from? Lu Ming squinted his eyes and made a guess in his heart. However, he did not stop and headed towards Vientiane Tower. The monarch-level expert's spiritual senses swept past him, but they could not recognize him at all. The other party hadn't even seen his face, and he had even used the divine breath technique, so how could he have discovered him? Not long after, Lu Ming came to a pavilion in the north of the Heavenly Emperor City. This was the Vientiane Tower. Lu Ming walked in and an elder immediately received him. "Dear customer, may I first help you?" the old man asked. "I need to find out some information," Lu Ming said. Chapter 1885. The Taiyi Sword Tomb. Chapter 1885. The Taiyi Sword Tomb. To get information, go to the left side of the hall. The old man smiled. Lu Ming nodded and walked to the hall on the left. There was a beautiful lady there to receive Lu Ming. "What kind of information do you need? For example, information about people, cultivation arts, or martial skills, or even materials for sacred medicine." The young woman had a gentle smile on her face, which made people feel very comfortable. "It's a type of saint herb," Lu Ming said. "If you want the sacred medicine, please go to room 6. They'll bring you there." The young lady smiled and led Lu Ming to a room at the side of the hall. Lu Ming secretly sighed. Vientiane Tower had a clear division of labor. The information was different according to the corresponding room. This way, the efficiency would indeed be better. Lu Ming saw an elegant middle-aged man as he walked into room number 6. "Sir, what kind of saint herb do you want to know?" the middle-aged man asked. "I want to know where one can find the grand astral lotus for sale, or if I can find one," Lu Ming said. "The astral treasure lotus is an extremely rare sacred medicine with special effects. There haven't been many of them since ancient times." The elegant middle-aged man sighed. "Even Vientiane Tower doesn't have any news about the grand astral treasure lotus?" Lu Ming's heart sank. One can only say that you're very lucky. If you had come a few days earlier, you might have made a wasted trip. But yesterday, one just received news about the grand astral treasure lotus. Someone has seen it in a place." The elegant middle-aged man laughed. "What place?" Lu Ming was overjoyed. "Brother, don't worry. A sacred herb like the grand astral treasure lotus is too rare. Vientiane Tower paid a huge price to obtain this information. If you want to know this information, you naturally have to pay a price too." The elegant middle-aged man smiled. "How many raw gemstones?" Lu Ming said. He knew that if he wanted to know more, he would need the rough stone. Information on a rare item like the grand astral treasure lotus is naturally precious. 500,000 superior-grade raw stones for this piece of information, the elegant middle-aged man said. The corners of Lu Ming's lips trembled slightly. A piece of news was sold for 500,000 superior-grade raw stones. It was really expensive. Of course, Vientiane Tower's people were all over the place. The cost of training so many people was very high. It was normal for information to be sold at a high price. "All right, one want the information on the grand astral treasure lotus." Lu Ming took out a storage ring and placed 500,000 superior-grade raw stones in it. He then handed it to the middle-aged man. After the elegant middle-aged man confirmed the number, he said, "Some time ago, someone saw the Taiyi treasure lotus in the Taiyi sword tomb. However, the Taiyi treasure lotus is extremely spiritual and can escape on its own. Therefore, it's up to your luck whether you can get it. Please." After saying that, the middle-aged man waved his hand to send the guest off. The Taiyi sword tomb? Lu Ming's eyes flashed and he left Vientiane Tower. Not long after, he returned to the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. He then sent a message to Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others, saying that he would be leaving for a while. He planned to head to the Taiyi sword tomb immediately to look for the Grand Sui treasure lotus and help Qiu Yu regain her memories. For things like memories, the longer they were dragged on, the more likely it would be disadvantageous to Qiu Yu and the more difficult it would be to recover. Lu Ming did not have to worry about the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Institute. Desolate force had broken through to the absolute saint realm and his strength had increased greatly. Moreover, there was also Luo Tianyi. If they joined forces, they would be able to protect themselves. After making his decision, Lu Ming did not waste any time and walked towards the teleportation array of the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Institute. Of course, he couldn't directly teleport to the Taiyi Sword Tomb. Instead, he teleported to the public teleportation area near the Taiyi Sword Tomb. In fact, every Emperor-level force would set up a teleportation array, but it was almost all one way. It could only teleport people out and not people from the outside. If someone from the outside could be directly teleported into a force, then that force would be very dangerous. If it was an enemy, then it would be even more dangerous. Only forces with very good relationships would open two-way teleportation between each other, allowing free movement. Therefore, in many areas, there would be a public transportation area. For example, outside the ancient Moon Holy Land, outside the ancient Sun Holy Land, and the 8 satellite cities around the Heavenly Emperor City were all public teleportation areas. If outsiders wanted to enter these places, they could only first teleport to the public teleportation area and then fly there. Therefore, if one wanted to go to a certain place, they could only teleport to the nearest public teleportation zone and fly there. After all, Yuan Mountain was too big. It was unrealistic to fly all the way. Even an ordinary monarch-level expert would need a long time to cross the entire Yuan Mountain. Lu Ming stepped into the teleportation array and was teleported to the public teleportation zone closest to the Taiyi Sword Tomb. He then took out the space-breaking shuttle and flew toward the Taiyi Sword Tomb. This space-breaking flying shuttle was obtained by Lu Ming after he killed an enemy. It was a space-breaking flying shuttle that was 20 times faster than the one that the Valley Master of Skycloud Valley had. In the space-breaking flying shuttle, Lu Ming restored his original appearance and released Qiu from the mountain and river diagram. The Celestial Emperor's sword, what's so magical about it? Let me see. Qiu came out and looked at Lu Ming curiously. Was this man really her young master? His talent was also amazing, and he could barely be her young master. Qiu's mind was filled with strange thoughts. Lu Ming nodded. With a thought, the Celestial the Arch Sword appeared in his hand. The Celestial Emperor's sword really did look like a stone sword. It was made from a strange stone, and there was nothing unusual about it at the moment. It really looked like an ordinary stone sword. It didn't have that shocking appearance when it was pulled out. This really is the Celestial Emperor's sword. It looks very ordinary. Could the legends be wrong? Qiu looked at the stone sword curiously, then took it and looked at it carefully. Finally, she injected her saint power into it, but the stone sword had no reaction at all. Lu Ming took it and infused it with holy power. He even circulated the chaos law, but there was no reaction. There's no reaction at all. It's a useless sword. Lu Ming was speechless. Then, the two of them studied it again, but there was still no result. Lu Ming had no choice but to store it in the mountain and river diagram. He would study it in the future. The distance to the Taiyi Sword Tomb was not short. Even with a space-breaking flying shuttle that was 20 times faster, it would still take half a month. The two of them started cultivating in the space-breaking flying shuttle. Half a month passed by in the blink of an eye. They came to a wild mountain range, surrounded by vast mountains. In the mountains, the roars of beasts could be heard. Lu Ming put away the space-breaking shuttle and the two of them stepped on the air. After more than 100,000 miles, they realized that the area was becoming more and more deathly silent and there were fewer and fewer living creatures. In the end, they saw an incomparably huge cave. It was like a huge devil's well that led underground. In the cave, there was a constant flow of death energy, which was why the cave was so quiet. It was said that the Taiyi Sword Tomb was under this cave where the swords were buried. Chapter 1886, Chapter 1886, Source of the Sword, Sword Fiend. Chapter 1886, Source of the Sword, Sword Fiend. The Taiyi Sword Tomb was the place where the swords were buried. It was said that in the distant era, a terrifyingly powerful swordsman had fallen in the Taiyi sword tomb. This place became his grave, attracting thousands of swords to pay homage to him. Countless ownerless swords flew here and were buried here with the terrifying swordsman. Behind them, there were countless powerful sword cultivators who coveted that existence's inheritance. In order to fight for that sword cultivator's inheritance, a tragic battle occurred here. Countless powerful swordsmen had died in battle here, their bones buried here. This place had become a terrifying sword tomb. Later on, many sword cultivators would come here when they reached the end of their lives and were about to die. As time passed, the number of experts in swords buried here was already unknown, endless. Over time, the Taiyi sword tomb also produced some wonderful treasures. For example, the sword source was a rare treasure. Refining the sword source could refine one's true essence and saint power to improve one's cultivation. There were also some people who would come here in search of swords with spirituality. Since ancient times, too many swordsmen had been buried here. It was said that there were even many emperor-level swordsmen. Some people's swords were real treasures. If one was lucky enough to get them, they would be rich. Therefore, the Taiyi sword tomb had attracted many people to explore it. Every year, many people would come, especially those who cultivated the sword. The Great Sui treasure lotus had been discovered by the people who had explored this place. Ming swept his gaze across the area. Indeed, he saw some figures near the cave. You too, a gentle-looking elder flew over and sized up Ming and Yu. He smiled and said, "The two of you also want to enter the sword tomb to explore, right?" "Not bad." Ming nodded. "Just as well. This old man and some friends want to form a team and enter the sword tomb together. After all, there are opportunities in the sword tomb, but there are also dangers. The more people there are, the stronger we can be. We can help each other. Little friends, are you willing to enter together?" The old man smiled. "Do you want to form a team?" Ming muttered in his heart. The Taiyi sword tomb had both opportunities and dangers. Since ancient times, there had been many experts buried here, and it had also given birth to some dangerous creatures, and that was the sword fiend. The sword fiend would kill any living being it encountered. It had no intelligence. There were strong and weak sword fiends. Some sword fiends were extremely strong and it was very dangerous to encounter them alone. Hence, it was normal for many people to choose to form teams to enter. "Senior, we're here to find a saint herb," Ming said. That's great. The Taiyi sword tomb is very vast. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack with just the two of you. Come with us and pay attention to each other. We'll have a greater chance." The old man laughed. "All right, I agree." Ming pondered for a moment and nodded. The old man's words made sense. It was indeed very difficult for the two of them to search. If they formed a team with more people, the chances would be higher. Moreover, some of these people might have been here for a long time, so they might be able to get some useful information. "All right, come, let me introduce you to the others." The old man smiled and led Ming and Yu to the others. There were 8 people at the entrance of the cave, and the old man introduced them. After the old man's introduction, Ming knew that his name was Wuxia. He had a cultivation base of a perfected absolute saint. Among these people, the old man's cultivation base was the highest. "My 2 young friends, we will have to wait for a while more. We will enter when there are more people," Wuxia said. He always had a gentle smile on his face, giving people a feeling that he was easy to get along with. "It's fine to wait." Ming nodded. The search for the astral treasure lotus couldn't be done overnight, so it didn't matter if he waited a few more days. There were indeed many people who came to explore the Taiyi sword tomb. After that, there would be people coming every 2 days, and they would all be pulled into the group by Chief Wu. 10 days later, there were more than 20 people in their group. "All right, we're almost there. Let's go," Wuxia said. Then, he flew towards the cave with the others following. This cave was extremely huge and led underground. Its depth was unfathomable. Ming and the group flew down and finally reached the bottom after flying for about 10,000 feet. It really is like an underground world. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the cave and realized that it was a completely different world. He could not see the end of it. There were many mountain peaks here, but it was deathly silent. There was nothing. There was only a sword. The rusty swords were either stuck in the ground or on the mountain peaks. However, almost all of them had lost their spirituality and were on the verge of corrosion over the years. Let's set up a formation so that we won't be flustered when we're attacked, Wuxia said. He would arrange the formation. Lu Ming and Qiu were arranged to be at the back. Some of them were in the middle, while others were in front, left, and right. Lu Ming's eyes flickered slightly. He realized that the people who were arranged to the front, back, left, and right were those who had joined the team later. Chief Wu brought 5 to 6 people and was in the middle. According to him, he had the highest cultivation level, so he was in the middle and could support the 4 sides at any time. No one had any objections, so they chose a direction and ran forward. The Taiyi sword tomb gave people the impression that it was dead silent. The world was silent, with the occasional gust of cold wind. Not a single blade of grass grew, and it was extremely desolate. They ran forward for hundreds of miles, and the scenery they saw was almost the same. This was the outer region. All the swords they had encountered had rotted away. There would not be any gains in this area. He didn't know how far he had walked, but suddenly, 2 figures floated over. These were 2 black shadows. Their faces could not be seen clearly, but they were like ghosts. As soon as the 2 black shadows saw Lu Ming and the group, their eyes emitted a sharp aura. They turned into 2 sword lights and rushed toward the group. There are 2 sword fiends, but they are only at the bright saint realm, Wuxia said. With a wave of his hand, 2 streams of qi shot out and destroyed the 2 sword fiends. After the 2 sword fiends were destroyed, they turned into 2 streams of energy and sank into the ground, disappearing. It was said that it was very difficult to kill the sword fiend. It could only be defeated temporarily. After being defeated, it would escape into the ground. After a period of time, it could reappear. The group continued forward and encountered a few more sword fiends behind them. However, they were not strong and were easily defeated. Suddenly, a weak sword intent came from the front. There's a sword source ahead. Chief Wu's eyes lit up. Obviously, it was not Chief Wu's first time in the Taiyi sword tomb. He was very experienced and could tell that there was a sword source ahead based on a faint sword essence. Everyone concealed their auras and advanced carefully. After bypassing a mountain peak, they saw dozens of sword fiends. What was different was that these dozens of sword fiends looked very solid, as if they were real. Their bodies emitted an astonishingly sharp qi, like divine swords. Chapter 1887, Chapter 1887, Chapter 1887, Bait. Chapter 1887, Chapter 1887 Bait. In the middle of the dozens of sword fiends, there were 3 combat swords. These 3 combat swords did not seem to be real. They were formed by extremely pure sword energy and were stuck in the ground. This was the source of the sword. Dozens of sword fiends surrounded the 3 sword sources. Sword Fiend was able to absorb the energy from the sword source to strengthen itself. Hence, there was a sword fiend guarding the vicinity of every sword source. There were 3 sword sources here, so naturally, there were even more sword fiends guarding the place. 3 sword sources. Wu Chu's gentle eyes shone with a fiery light. What do we do? Someone asked. One can't fight them head-on. Otherwise, it'll alert the other sword fiends and I'll be more troublesome. The best way is to attract the sword fiends and then seize the 3 sword fiends instantly with my powerful combat strength. Wu Chu's eyes shone with an astute light as he continued to make arrangements. All of you, and the rest of you, go and draw away those sword fiends. We have the strongest cultivation, so we'll seize 3 sword sources in an instant. Wu Chu pointed at Lu Ming, Qiu, and some other people who had joined the team later. We'll lure them? Someone asked. That's right. In the sword tomb, only by cooperating with each other can we maximize our strength and obtain more resources. Don't worry, after we obtain the sword source, we'll split it equally. We won't give you a single cent less. Wuxia said. All right, let's go lure them. That person nodded, and the others had no objections. Lu Ming and the rest approached the sword fiend from different directions. When they were within a certain distance, the sword fiends discovered them and their eyes shot out a sharp glint. Whoosh, whoosh. Then, the sword fiend turned into streaks of sword light and chased after Lu Ming and the rest. Let's go! Lu Ming pulled Qiuyu, turned around, and ran. The others did the same. They all turned around and ran off into the distance, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Beside the sword source, there were only 7 or 8 sword fiends left. It's good to find some bait. It can save us a lot of effort. A middle-aged burly man at the side of the Wu area sneered. He looked in the direction where Lu Ming and the rest had left and revealed a mocking smile. Let's not waste any time. Let's take action and seize the 3 sword sources. Let's go, Wuxia said. He took a step forward and attacked the 8 sword spirits. His cultivation was at the great circle of the absolute saint realm, and with one palm, 2 sword spirits were destroyed and turned into energy that sank into the ground. The other people beside Chief Wu also attacked. Their auras bloomed, and they were all absolute saints. Everyone attacked together. 7 to 8 sword fiends did not hold on for long before they were killed. Lu Ming and Qiuyu were running at top speed, but the sword fiend behind them was surprisingly fast. It was closing the distance between them. This sword chi is so fast. It's like a flying sword light. And there's an absolute saint sword chi among them. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. Chua, let's stop here. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Qiuyu. Qiuyu suddenly stopped. With a wave of her hand, 2 curved blades flew out and spun rapidly, sweeping towards the few sword fiends. One of the sword demons was equivalent to a lower-tier absolute saint, while the others were all great saints. They weren't Qiuyu's opponents at all. The 2 curved blades swept over, and the sword demons collapsed, turning into energy and dissipating. All. At this moment, shrill screams came from several other directions. It was obvious that it was the screams of the other people who had attracted the sword fiend. Lu Ming's gaze turned even colder. Then he and Qiuyu returned to their original spot. At that moment, Wu Chu and the rest had already obtained 3 sword sources and were retreating. They were a little surprised to see Lu Ming and Lin Fan return. It seems like these 2 are heaven's favorites. Even an absolute saint sword fiend can't do anything to them. Wu Chu's eyes flashed, and then he revealed a warm smile. Lu Ming, return to the team. Well, retreat first. Lu Ming nodded. He and Qiuyu remained silent and returned to the team, retreating. Not long after, a deafening roar sounded from the place where he had obtained the sword source. It was obvious that the sword fiend had returned and let out an angry roar when it realized that the sword source had disappeared. Not long after, a few more people who had gone to attract the sword fiend returned to the group. These people's cultivation was not weak, and they did not die at the hands of the sword fiend. Chief Wu, where's the sword source? You said you were going to split it evenly. One of them looked at Chief Wu. Don't worry. I've only obtained 3 sword sources so far. I'll keep them for the time being. When one obtain more sword sources in the future, he'll naturally take them out and divide them equally. Chief Wu laughed. The man snorted and didn't say anything. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. A sharp glint flashed across Qiuyu's eyes, but the 2 of them did not say anything. The group continued forward, and not long after, Chief Wu sensed something again. There's another sword source ahead. Chief Wu revealed a look of joy. The group moved forward and found a sword source in a kernel. A sword source would protect a relatively small number of sword fiends, only around 3. Let's attack together and exterminate these sword fiends. Wuxia said. There were only a dozen sword fiends that did not need to be lured away. Lu Ming and the rest had good combat strength. They would probably be useful if they were kept. A cold smile hung on the corner of Wu Chu's mouth. The next moment, his expression suddenly changed. On the other side, a dozen figures flashed and appeared. These were all martial arts experts. They were clearly the ones who had entered the sword tomb before. There were a lot of people in the sword tomb. Every few days, there would be people who would come to take risks in the sword tomb. No one knew how many people were in the sword tomb. Clearly, the other party was also someone who had entered the sword tomb to take risks. The other party also saw Ming and the others. Their gazes were unfriendly, and some of them revealed killing intent. The faces of Wuxia and the others darkened. You guys can get lost. That sword source is ours. Someone in the crowd said coldly. You're the ones who should get lost. Chief Wu sneered. How could he miss the sword source that was right in front of him? His gaze shifted and landed on Ming and the rest. You guys go and stop them. Well, go and get the sword source. Chief Wu sent a voice transmission to Ming, Yu, and a few others. These people were the ones who had gone to attract the sword fiend. They were the ones they had found to be the bait. As expected, Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. You want us to stop them? What a joke. There are many experts among them. If we go over, we'll just be courting death. One refuse. A short and fat man shook his head and refused. There was definitely no lack of experts among those who could form teams to travel in the sword tomb. At least half of the other party's group were absolute saints. There might even be experts in the great circle of the absolute saint realm like Chu Wu. Asking them to stop the other party was clearly asking them to die. Chief Wu's eyes turned cold. Don't worry. You can stop them for a while. When we get the sword source, we will go and help you. One believe you can stop them in a short time. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.